What up, guys? Gangsta back with a brand new episode of my monthly figure purchases. Welcome back for the month of May 2023. Another month of me making some very bad decisions. Hope you guys enjoyed last month and the month before that and the month before that. Hope you guys have just been enjoying the series. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I think I say that every time, but I feel like I don't stress it enough, where I like finally being able to share this hobby of mine with people and, like-minded people as well. And right now we live in the golden age of figure collecting. There's so many awesome companies making cool figures, making like definitive edition figures. It's awesome. It's really, really awesome. So just makes me feel like a kid again. Actually, to be honest, it makes me angry because these are the toys I would have loved when I was a kid. But I own them as an adult, so I guess better late than never. Anyways, enough about that. Welcome back to another month. It's been an interesting month. In May, we had a free comic book day. That was an event. I went to my local comic book shop and picked up some stuff. I didn't get any of the free comics, but they were having like a store-wide sale just to kind of celebrate the whole free comic book day thing. So I picked up a couple things there. Actually, some really cool things I picked up there. But another thing that happened to me in May was I think I might have had a package being lost. Like, I'm not sure. I'm in that mindset of like, this thing is gone. But what I do every month, I've mentioned this before if you've watched these videos, I usually order stuff from Big Bad Toy Store, their pile of loot system, which is pretty awesome. Basically, instead of buying a figure and just shipping it out at once, you can, package it all together. Let's say, one figure releases in March, one figure releases in April. Well, in May, you can get both those figures shipped together instead of, possibly one selling out and whatnot. It's a cool system. Anyways, so I had a pile of loot of figures and I got it shipped out. And usually what I do is I get it shipped out at the end of the month so I can get it sometime the next month, in the middle of the next month. So I placed an order. It was the end of April, and I'm like, okay, I'm ordering it end of April. It should come mid-May, right? That would be the case if everything kind of fell into place, but what happened was the package got shipped out April 28th, and it's traveling. I keep up with the tracking, and the tracking says May 10th, held at customs. Very standard stuff. I think all packages get there. They have to be checked, inspected, not like opened and stuff, but just to make sure, you're not bringing in like firearms or drugs or people, whatever the case may be. And to this day, we're in the end of May as I'm recording this. I have still not received that package. And I reached out to Big Bad Toy Store because I was freaking out and I didn't know what happened because my whole mindset is it's gone, it's lost, they don't know where the fuck the package is, but I haven't been contacted. So anyways, I hit up Big Bad Toy Store. I'm like, hey, can you give me any update on this figure? Like, has Customs contacted you guys to be like, hey, maybe there's some missing paperwork or something on the shipping label? And they reached back out to me and they said, there's actually a big strike going on at Customs, so there might be a big delay in your package. So to this day that I am recording this, I have still not received it yet. It's still being held at Customs. I hope to God it's not lost because there's some really cool figures in there that I really want. Some cool Marvel Legends. We actually have no Dragon Ball figures this month because of that, because it was supposed to come in that stupid box. And there was another really cool figure that I don't really want to go too much into. It's a cool little thing. But hopefully we'll have it for next month, for June. I just hope it's not lost, to be honest. Like, I feel like I will not get reimbursed for this. But all that stuff aside, I still managed to pick up a lot of cool stuff this month. So we'll get into it in just a second. Before we get into that, I'm going to show off a video. Maybe this is your first time watching, you don't know what I collect. Well, that's why this video that I'm about to queue up is going to explain everything to you. It's going to show you all the different collections that I'm kind of building towards. So without further ado, let's queue that up and then we'll show off what I bought this month. Before I show off what I got for the month, I'm going to quickly go through what I'm collecting and what you can expect in this series. And it breaks down to 8 different collections. First one, we got Marvel Legends. For this, I mainly collect Spider-Man and X-Men, mainly anything that comes in those lines. I've broken down and basically started collecting one of each character. I don't collect everybody per se. There are characters where I will shy away from. Characters who I'm very not familiar with, I will stay away from. Unless they're on clearance and they're a good deal, I might snag them up. But I tend to just stick with characters that I'm familiar with or I know somewhat. And with the Marvel Legends, I don't collect any MCU figures. I mainly just do comic, video game, or animated show design characters. Next, I collect McFarlane's DC Multiverse. For this, I mainly just do Batman, his allies, his villains, just kind of get one of each. I am starting to build out some other collections like Flash and Green Lantern. Now I'm kind of looking to collect one of each major character. Major villains, major heroes, kind of do like a Legion of Doom and a Justice League kind of setup. For this as well, no movie figures, strictly video game or comic inspired designs. Next, I collect Transformers. For my Transformers collection, I only collect Beast Wars figures or animal characters, whatever you'd like to say. With this, I started collecting with the Kingdom line, and that has transitioned to the Transformers Legacy line, so that's what I'm collecting now. I also collect the retro Beast Wars figures, and for this, I'm just kind of looking to collect a one of each, Predacons, Maximals, stuff like that. Next, I collect Dragon Ball SH figure arts. For this collection, I'm just looking to collect one of each character. Now, each character does have multiple forms, like Goku, for example, has 7 different Saiyan forms. I might collect those all eventually, but my main priority is just getting one of each character. Next, I collect Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. With this one, it's a little weird. I like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I respect them more than I like them. I grew up somewhat with them, but I'm not crazy about them. But I like them enough to where I want some representation of them in my collection. So that's why I've decided to collect the Loyal Subjects Best Action line. For this, I just really want the Turtles and Shredder. They are creating other characters. But for me, I want to collect all 4 Turtles and Shredder. And once I have that, I'll start to collect some of the other figures. But if they decide to end the line eventually, I'll be happy with having the Turtles and having Shredder. Next, I collect video game characters. For this, I mainly collect characters from video games that kind of mean something to me, my favorite games. I also collect some figures of characters from other games, kind of, bigger games, Sonic, Mario, stuff like that. But I tend to just pick characters from games that I really care about. Next, I collect Power Rangers. For this, I collect Hasbro's Power Rangers Lightning Collection. With this, I'm looking to collect one of each Ranger, each villain, just one of each. There's also a couple different items in the Lightning Collection. They're starting to do the Zords, and they do some roleplay items. For me, I do plan on collecting the Zord Ascension Project as they release more of that. In terms of roleplay items, not for me. For me, I'm just about the figures. And then last but not least, I collect wrestling figures. For this, I collect mainly WWE Elite Style or AEW Unrivaled Unmatched. I collect both those lines. I'm just looking to collect one of each wrestler. And fun fact about this collection in particular, it is the only collection of mine that I take out of box for whatever reason. Everything else stays in the box, and I display it as such. So now that you know what I collect, let's see what additions are going to be coming to my collection this month. All right, there it is. You saw what I collect. Breaks down into 8 different collections. And like I mentioned earlier, we are not going to be adding anything to our Dragon Ball SH Figure Arts collection. But I will say every other collection has some really, really, really cool stuff. So we are going to be starting out with Marvel Legends this month. I only got one figure here. And with this figure in particular, it kind of is hopefully going to jumpstart a collection of mine within Marvel Legends that I don't really have too many of, which is the cosmic figures, the space characters, your Guardians of the Galaxy, your Silver Surfers, Nova, stuff like that. Don't really have too much of a collection there, villains as well. And hopefully this figure here will be the first of many to come. And the figure that we are going to kind of be jump-starting my cosmic collection is none other than a villain in Marvel. You probably saw him in Guardians of the Galaxy volume... Actually, no, there's no volume. It was just Guardians of the Galaxy, the first movie. He was the main villain. And if you're not sure who I'm talking about, I am talking about Ronan the Accuser. Yes, this is the guy that lost to a bunch of people dancing. Yeah, that's how Guardians of the Galaxy ended. Sorry if you haven't watched it yet, and that's a bit of a spoiler. But yeah, he got his ass kicked due to the power of dance and friendship. So pretty embarrassing, but he is a pretty intimidating looking guy. As we can see here, he is a pretty big figure. He comes with a gigantic hammer. We'll break down the box as we usually do. But I think the figure actually does look pretty cool, at least from what the box shows. So we'll show off the box really quick because we are going to be opening it because it is plastic-free packaging. Can't wait for that to go away. But here we have Ronan the Accuser, Guardians of the Galaxy, a very retro logo here. And here we get a nice shot of him in figure form on the side. Another shot of him in figure form. On top, Guardians of the Galaxy again. On this side, we have a nice comic shot of him, and it looks pretty accurate to what he looks like. On the bottom, we got some boring stuff, and on the back, we have what's coming in the package. Now, I don't think there's any hands, I'm guessing, because usually they'll have a little bubble here saying, oh, plus hands, or a head, or whatever other accessories. So this figure might just be Ronan and the hammer. We'll have to wait to see. But as we usually do, we're going to check out the tape. Now, for this figure, there is no tape, as we can see here. I have not opened it already, but this figure is an Amazon exclusive, and it came shipped in a shipper box. So it came in a box, and inside that box was this figure inside another box. I meant to save it and show you guys, but I was doing some cleanup of some boxes and I accidentally threw it away. But this does come in a small little brown shipper box, which is why this is not sealed. So I think that's the case. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is like a return of somebody, but I don't believe so. It does come in another package. So we're going to pop this bad boy open. Let's slide him out. This lawyer here, I think that's something that is not known about him as well, is he's a space lawyer. Ronan the Accuser. Or is he a judge? He's some legal thing. Here's instructions. We're popping in the box. Box is empty. And here we got the figure. There is Ronan, looking pretty beefy there. And we've got the hammer here, and it looks like that's it for accessories. I thought this might be another bag of accessories here, but it is just his feet. But yeah, just the hammer, it looks like. Nothing else in the baggie. It's empty. So yeah, just the hammer. We'll take a look at the hammer in a second. Let me unpackage Ronan here, and then we'll take a look at him with all his accessory. First, we're going to take a look at his accessory, which is just a gigantic hammer. And it does look pretty cool. It feels a little flimsy. It's not just one piece. This is a separate piece from this. And this kind of wobbles. It probably doesn't show on camera, but it does. I don't know. There's like a hollowness to this, and this, it just doesn't, I don't know. It feels a little weird in my opinion, but we'll take a look at the hammer. Some good detail here, some scratch marks, nice blue to show how powerful it is. Some more scratch marks here, some tough legal battles. There we got the handle, and on the bottom of the hammer, we've got like a spiky, come on camera. And on the bottom of the hammer, we've got just a couple spikes to make it look super menacing. So some nice detail to the hammer with no hands. I wish this would have been like a solid piece of plastic. You can kind of hear the hollowness of the hammer. But I think it still does look pretty cool. But what definitely looks cool is our man here, the man of the hour, Ronan the Accuser. And he looks pretty menacing. I love the different shades of green on him. You got more of a lime green for the legs and the arm, his kind of armor. And then you've got a dark green, like a foresty green. And then you've got maybe an emerald green for the chest and the little details and stuff. First thing I want to check out is these shoulder pads because they look pretty solid. They do feel pretty solid. And I want to see if that limits the articulation. Oh, actually it just popped out of the chest here. So I guess they are removable if you want. Yep, there it is. I'm only going to remove one, but that's what it looks like. case you want to play around with it and you feel like it's getting in the way, you can take them out. We're going to pop them back in. So there's the fronts, and there is the back. Oh, we got a little bit of a scuff here. We'll get to that later. But yeah, in case it is bothering you, you can remove the shoulder pads, but I don't know why you'd want to, because I feel like it adds quite a bit to them. Let's look at that face sculpt. Very angry looking dude. Actually, his mask kind of reminds me of like the old Wolverine mask, where he's got like the black, and then this would be the yellow, and then the ears would pop up. That's what it kind of looks like. Or that's what it reminds me of. And I think he looks pretty good. I mean, you know, his face is mainly covered up, so we just really see his mouth. But I do like the way the figure turned out, at least the face sculpt. And we'll turn around, and he's got this little piece. I don't think this is removable. No, it looks like it is stuck on there, so that does not come off. And we'll try out his articulation. So in terms of his head, it can turn left and right. I don't think it can go up and down, maybe not too much. He can look down, but that's as far up as he's going to go. In terms of shoulders and arms, we've got bicep swivel, shoulder. We've got a single jointed elbow. That's a pretty tough one here. Oh man, that was hurting my thumbs, Jesus. But it just needs to be broken in, and there it is. No swivel on the gauntlet here, but he does have a little bit of a swivel here. It is a little limited due to this piece of plastic, but you can still get a full rotation in, and it does bend at the wrist. And obviously this is his hammer. Actually, he's got the same hands in both, so he can wield it in any hand. Let's check out the ab crunch. We've got a clicking. Not bad. Waist. Oh, there is waist movement. Nice. Nice little belt, which is not sculpted on, so I think you can rotate it if you want. And we'll just check out the other arm. So same thing, shoulder. This one popped up, came out too far. Bicep. Let's see if the elbow is as hard as it is on the other one. Yes, it is. Holy shit. Yes, it is. That is a very solid elbow. Oh my. And same thing with the hands that we saw with the right hand. So that's good. Leg. Oh, let's do a split test. I don't know why the left or the right leg goes so much further than the right leg. That just looks kind of weird to me. I feel like it should be an equal split, you know? But it seems like this leg goes further out. Whatever. Anyways, you can have him sitting, you know, in his little judge's chair, being like, "You're guilty." Or "You're innocent." I don't think he does too many innocent trials, to be honest. Doesn't seem like that kind of judge. We've got thighs, double jointed knees. These are a little tough too, along with the elbow. No boot cut. We do. Oh, here's the boot cut here. I thought it would have been here, but we still got one here. And the foot can go up and down, and a little bit of ankle articulation. Let's just check the other side. Boom, boom, boom. Ankle, foot, and try out this knee. All right, cool. Not too bad. So here's a nice shot of him. The front. Do a little nice 360. There's a side shot. There's the back, the other side, and the front. In case anybody's wondering, here's what his boots look like, and the top of his head. So I think the figure looks pretty solid. We'll pose him with his hammer. His hammer doesn't really sit too well in his hand. Any little movements, it just kind of goes AWOL. It's not as snug as I would like, which is a little unfortunate. But you know what? He's going to go back in his little coffin of a box, so he's not going to be holding the hammer for much longer. But yeah, all in all, I do like him. He does kind of have like a basic design, but I do like how it turned out. And if you're interested in picking one up for yourself, like I mentioned, it is an Amazon exclusive, so that is the only place that you're able to pick him up. But I'm pretty happy to add this one to my collection, to be honest. I think he turned out pretty well, and hopefully some more space characters will come along to join him in my collection. So this is a really cool one, and I'm pretty happy with it. Next, we're going to be moving on to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Before we get into the figure that I got this month, I want to do a little small update from the last episode where I showed off The Last Ronin. I have finished reading the book, and I'm happy to say I really enjoyed the story. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did, but I found myself not really being able to put down the book. I did have to tell myself, like, hey, dude, like, pace yourself. You don't want to fucking blitz through it all in, like, a day. And so I took my time with it, but I really enjoyed it. And one of the good things I like about the book is it's kind of a standalone piece where you don't need any previous knowledge of any characters, just kind of the base level stuff where you know who the four turtles are, you know who April is, you know who Splinter is, you know Shredder, you know they live in New York, and just that kind of stuff. You don't need to read like 100 previous issues to kind of prep yourself to read this. It's a fun standalone book, and if you are looking for a book to read, and if you kind of just want to get into TMNT books, I really enjoyed it, and I'd actually highly recommend it. But anyways, enough about that. We did get a cool figure this month, and it's honestly a really cool figure. From when they announced it, I was like, man, I wonder how it's going to fit in my collection. And the figure I am talking about is the biggest figure in the TMNT Best Action line. I don't know if there's going to be anything to top this, but it is the 8-inch version of Krang in the android suit. Wow, I'm surprised it fit in the frame. Yeah, this thing is massive. We're going to do size comparisons with, other Best Action releases, but this is one of those figures. I had my eye on it on Amazon, and I actually had it in my cart, and I was going to buy it, but when I ended up going to my comic shop, I saw this was there. They had it for a pretty good price, just as good as what Amazon was listing it for, and Amazon had this listed for $40, which I think is a pretty good price for this, because, if this was Marvel Legends or something, this is like $70 alone. But yeah, I saw it in the comic shop, and plus, I got a pretty good discount, because like I said, they were having the sale, and I'm like, dude, I gotta pick this up. And when I had it in hand, I was like, this is an awesome figure. I think this just looks really cool. Like, it is huge. It's massive. As you can see here, extra large. Just to show you how big this figure is, I was gonna save it for later, but I want to show how big this really is. Here is the regular release of Krang, and there it is against the android figure, and it's just massive. It's huge. It's awesome. I love big figures like this. And I'm glad they didn't skimp out with this figure where, they could have easily made it like the 5 inches that they usually do with the figures and just kind of called it a day. But they're like, you know what? We're going to go all out for this figure. We're going to make it a gigantic figure, and I think it's awesome. I really like how this figure turned out. And not only does the figure look awesome, it comes with a bunch of cool accessories. I'm going to show them on the back because we can't really see everything in the box, but we will do a breakdown of the box. But in the box, we get a couple different guns that he can change his hands into. We've got kind of an axe hand, we've got a sword hand, we've got a drill hand, and I think the coolest thing about this figure is it opens up and it allows you to put the little Krang figure inside of him, which is pretty awesome. So right here, it lifts open and bends backwards, as we saw on the back there. And you take this little Krang guy, you pull off his arms, and you can put him in. And as you can see, there's already arms here controlling the android. And he just sits nicely in that little circle. We will do a little breakdown of the box. So here are his accessories. Like I said, we can't really see everything, but I'll kind of show you what we can see. So here's one of the guns. The other gun is on the left here. We see the drill, we see the axe. Actually, I think we can see everything. We see the sword here. We see Krang. It actually even comes with a couple different hands that you can change them out. We'll do a little box breakdown right now. So there is the front. We see a nice little cartoon shot of him there. TMNT, Krang Android body, XL figure. On top, we've got nothing really. On the left side, sorry, we've got nothing as well. On the bottom, we've got some boring stuff. I do have one issue with this figure, and that's just kind of the side art here, where it's just Krang. I don't know why they didn't just use this on this side here, instead of just putting a gigantic Krang picture, like, I would have liked to have seen, like, I know the box is gigantic and I know what's inside, but I just would have liked this illustration of the android body on the side just to kind of fit with the whole packaging. But they decided to just put a big version of Krang here, which, you know, it is what it is. That is my one gripe with this figure. Other than that, I think it's pretty perfect. But yeah, I just would have liked the android here instead of Krang. And we kind of showed off the back, but we'll show it off again. There it is. All the accessories there, a nice shot of him there, and we're going to read the little biography. So Krang is part of a brain-like alien species from Dimension X. He was banished to Earth, where he joined up with Shredder on his mission to end the Turtles and conquer the city. Their shared headquarters is located in the Technodrome, Krang's Battle Fortress. I think that's the exact same description that this has. No, it's different, but it's pretty similar. I would have liked them to talk about, you know, why he has the android suit and its capabilities and stuff like that. Anyways, I digress. I think the figure looks absolutely incredible. We're going to do some comparisons. We already did a kind of comparison, but we'll do another one because I want to do a little close-up look. So here we can see Krang, and as I showed off previously, there is another version of Krang that came out. I think we showed it in the last episode. Oh no, the last one we did Rocksteady, I forgot. So like I showed off already, there are two versions of Krang. This is the new one with the android body, and this is a previous one that he comes in the walker. So if you do buy it, you will have two Krangs, and luckily they did kind of differentiate it, where this one has the open mouth and this one has the closed mouth. They could have easily repackaged it with the same head, but I'm glad that they changed it up. That's pretty awesome. Shout out to them. But that would be the only real difference. I believe the tentacles are the same, but other than that, it is a different head sculpt. So that is pretty cool. And again, we'll just do another side-by-side comparison. Krang in the walker and Krang in the android. And I'll just show off the sides. As we can see in the smaller version, there's Krang in the little walker. And I don't know why they didn't do the fucking android illustration on the side. It kind of bugs me, especially now that I saw that they have this. Why? Why didn't you just do the stupid android body? Anyways, I digress. So another comparison is mentioned on the back. We've got Shredder, of course, looking absolutely puny. All the best action figures come in at about 5 inches. And like I mentioned, this one is in the 8-inch range. So quite the size difference, but I think they look really cool together. Very happy about this one. And if you got a gigantic bad guy, you're going to need some good guys to save the day. So here we have half of the TMNT team. And here we see Raphael and Donatello posed alongside the android body. And I think they look great together. I really just want to focus on the android body. Shout out to these guys. They were just here for the comparison. But, man, this figure alone, I cannot say enough good things about it. I think it looks absolutely incredible and will make an awesome addition to my collection. And with them doing this gigantic figure, hopefully it sells well, and hopefully we can get some other big figures like this. Nothing really comes to mind. Maybe they can do a whole Technodrome playset. That would be pretty cool. But I can't really think of any other like really big characters that would warrant like an XL figure. But it's cool they even dip their toes in this, showing that they're willing to kind of give us a bigger figure. So that's really, really awesome. And I can't say it enough. I am very, very happy with this figure. I think it looks incredible. All right, next we are going to be jumping into McFarlane's DC Multiverse. We got 2 editions this month. Before we get into the figures, though, I did buy a couple graphic novels. I picked up a couple because, you know, free comic book day, and they were having great deals. And with me finishing up TMNT The Last Ronin, I thought I'd pick up a couple more books. The first book that I bought, which I've always heard good things about, and I'm glad I finally got to read it, is the Flash Rebirth series. I actually enjoyed this story quite a bit. Flash is probably my second favorite DC hero behind Batman. You know, I've heard a lot of good things about this story, and I was kind of digging around, you know, different heroes to read, and I was like, you know what, I'm kind of in the mood to read some Flash. You know, there's a lot of Flash stuff going on right now. We got the movie coming out very soon. We've got the show that just ended. I want to watch the series finale, like what they did. I saw a little bit that they brought back all the speedsters. You know, that was a show I was really into at one point, and I just kind of fell off the wagon. But in terms of the story, I thought it was really fun. I really enjoyed this. I actually have read this. I picked this up in early May, and, you know, We're at the end of May. I have had a chance to read it all. And I thought it was a pretty enjoyable story. If you're looking for a Flash comic where, you know, you want like the speedsters, you want a good speedster story, I think this is the one for you. You've got Wally West, you've got Barry Allen, Bart Allen, Jay Garrick, you've got Reverse Flash, you got Savitar, you got the Dark Flash, tons of speedsters. If you want like a speedster specific story, this is for you. Now, jumping into this book, I was a little lost because I haven't read all the DC events. And obviously there's one that happens where Barry Allen dies or disappears or something like that, and then Wally West ends up taking over the Flash mantle. And this one here is the return of the Flash, Barry Allen. So there were some points during this book where I was kind of lost, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck preceded this. But I will say it was still an enjoyable read. I thought the art was pretty good. Just kind of flipped through some pages without hopefully spoiling some stuff. But yeah, I was a big fan of the art style of this comic. Here are a couple panel shots, and yeah, I really like the art. The story, like I mentioned, we'll just read the little synopsis here. Barry Allen, the Flash. His birth kick-started the Silver Age, and his heroic death defending the universe from a cosmic crisis made him a legend. Now another crisis has brought Barry back to life. The fastest man alive is out of step with the world. With the Flash legacy well preserved, Barry has no purpose except to try to solve the one mystery that eluded him during his previous life, the murder of his mother. But mysteries abound surrounding Barry's return. Why was Barry able to escape the Speed Force, the extra-dimensional energy field that all speedsters draw from, when other heroes and villains were not? What strange transformation is Barry undergoing when he's around other speedsters? And most of all, who is it who brought Barry back to life? And was the Flash reborn only so he could be destroyed once again? So like it mentions there, it's a little bit of a spoiler, but you kind of find that out very early on in the comic where Barry Allen died, sacrificed his life, and he has somehow come back to life. And it was a pretty interesting read. I actually enjoyed this quite a bit, and I would recommend this if you're looking for a Flash comic to read. And I did get another book, and this one is actually one I haven't read, but I've wanted to read for quite some time. I remember when it was announced, and it sounded like a very interesting concept, and it kind of piggybacks off what we just saw with the Flash Rebirth, where it involves, a crisis and a Flash character, and the book I am talking about is Heroes in a Crisis. This is quite a large book compared to the Flash Rebirth, where Flash Rebirth is pretty small, and Heroes in Crisis is almost, double, if not 2.5 times bigger than Flash Rebirth. So this is definitely a hefty book. This was a whole comic event. I mean, I guess Flash Rebirth was as well, but, this one more so affected everyone in the DC. But the whole concept of this is basically the heroes having to deal with PTSD, which I think is a really interesting concept because you think about these characters and all the, we'll take Batman, for example, all the, trauma that he's gone through, not only physically, but mentally with like Joker and Riddler and, all the different types of villains kind of picking at him, losing people he's loved, him dying himself, coming back to life. It's got to weigh on you, So when they announced that they were doing this event and they were kind of focusing on PTSD, I was like, man, that is really interesting. That's something that's not really talked about or hasn't really been explored in the world of superheroes. To my knowledge, maybe it has, but I don't think it has. But we'll read the back and give, a little description that hopefully won't spoil the book. Welcome to Sanctuary. Constructed in secret by Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, the facility is a hospital like no other. Here, superheroes reeling from their fight against evil use cutting-edge artificial intelligence to process their trauma and return to the never-ending battle. But this sanctuary is about to be violated. Murder has invaded this haven. The prime suspects, Clown Princess Harley Quinn and Time Traveler Booster Gold. Now the Man of Steel, the Dark Knight, and the Amazing Amazon must seek them both, leading the hunt for the culprit behind this terrible crime. But the danger is deeper than they know, and unless they catch the real killer, the secrets and the lives of every hero in the universe are in jeopardy. There has never been a crisis like this. So like I mentioned, Booster Gold and Harley Quinn are the prime suspects. But as we can see here, we've got tons of characters: Superman, Batman, Batgirl, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, Robin, Cyborg, Barry Allen Flash, Wally West Flash, Aquaman, Hawkman, Dr. Fate. It has it all. I haven't read any of this. Like I mentioned, I just finished with Flash Rebirth, but I am pretty excited to read this book. I'm not going to show the inside because I don't want to be spoiled. I've gotten this far enough without being spoiled, so I'm kind of trying to avoid it as much as possible. Can't wait to read it. Maybe I'll talk about it on the next episode if I liked it or not, but really looking forward to reading this one, and it's going to be quite a journey, as you can see here. So I believe it was a 12-issue series, so there's quite a bit to read through. Actually, you know what? We'll show off the first few pages just to kind of get a feel for the art style. So there we can see Booster Gold, Harley Quinn, some guy, and there are a couple dead heroes. So yeah, can't wait to read this one. But without further ado, let's actually show off some figures. So the two figures I got for McFarlane's DC Multiverse, I honestly kind of lucked out on, because the two figures I got, they're both gold label figures, and they're both Target exclusives. Now, I live in Canada, and we don't have Targets, so Target exclusives usually kind of bounce between like GameStop, Toys R Us, and I actually got these two figures on Amazon. Now, I saw some guy selling them. It was a third-party seller, and he was selling them for like some crazy amount. And for some reason, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to check the ad, and I'm going to see if Amazon is also offering it. Because sometimes, I don't know how it happens, but the third-party sellers can bump Amazon's listings, which I think is just absolutely crazy. I think Amazon should be the first one listed, since it is their site and their service. So I checked out one of the ads. Amazon was actually offering it, and like I said, because they're Target exclusives, I wasn't expecting Amazon to get them. So when I saw that they were offering them, I had to pick up both of these. I'm just going to introduce them real quick. We've got kind of building out my Teen Titans team and adding to my Flash collection, which I'm pretty happy about. And we were talking about Flash earlier. We've got Impulse here, and we've got Beast Boy. So two really cool figures. I was kind of worried for a second because, like I said, they were on Amazon, but they weren't supposed to be on Amazon. And when I was purchasing these, and I added it to my cart, I bought them, and after you do an Amazon order, you get the "thank you for shopping, your order should be here," blah blah blah. And the little images that it showed I forgot, I think it was Impulse was right. And for the Beast Boy figure, it showed a picture for another figure of Ocean Master, who's, a character that we showed off before. So immediately there was kind of an alarm going off in my head where I'm like, I might not even get these figures. Amazon's not supposed to get these, so maybe there's like an error, and I'm not actually going to be getting these two figures. But I'm happy to say they both came correctly, which is a godsend, because like I said, these are supposed to be Target exclusives, and getting Target exclusives in Canada is a nightmare. So we're going to focus on Impulse first. We'll bring Beast Boy back here in a second, but like I mentioned, Impulse here is going to be adding to my Flash collection. I brought a couple more speedsters that we're going to be doing like some comparisons with, but I think this figure itself does look pretty good. I do have a little bit of an issue with it, kind of in the same vein as the Kid Flash, where these are supposed to be child characters. If we look at the back, that's a kid right there, maybe 13, 14 years old. But if you look at Impulse in the box, he looks like he's in his early 20s. So that's something I kind of hope that McFarlane does in the future, is they make, smaller figures. Because I've seen them do like a Damian Wayne Robin. I believe he is smaller, because all McFarlane figures are usually in the 7-inch realm. And I believe the Robin Damian Wayne version was shorter than that. I don't know how tall, but it was shorter. And I wish they would kind of take that approach when it comes to kind of the younger characters. Give us a smaller body. We don't need these adult bodies. just a small little nitpick. But other than that, I think the figure does look pretty good. He does look pretty basic, but that is just kind of what his costume looks like. As we can see here, he's got these little things on his wrists. No real design on his costume. He's got the goggles, he's got a white and red costume, and pretty much nailed it perfectly on the figure. You know, he's got those little gauntlet things on his wrists, the goggles for the eyes, and the white and red costume. So it's a pretty simple figure, but I still think it looks pretty good. And he comes with these electric effects, which are pretty cool. And you also get a little trading card in the back there. But yeah, as far as the figure goes, not bad. And we'll show off the box. So here he is, Impulse. This is Bart Allen. There's the top. He's the grandson of Flash, of Barry Allen. It gets confusing. I'm not too sure what he is, but I gotta check out this comic series, Flash War. That sounds pretty awesome, especially I just finished, you know, Flash Rebirth. That might be a story I should look into. Here we got the other side, Impulse. We saw on the back, a nice little portrait of him there, looking quite young compared to what he is in the box. And on the bottom, some boring stuff. Not too much to say about the character. Like I mentioned, he is a great addition to my Flash collection. We're going to bring out a couple Flashes to compare him with. And here we have his, I'm just going to say his grandfather, even though I don't think that's correct. But we have Barry Allen Flash. This is the Injustice 2 version. That's the Flash I have in my collection. And I think these two look pretty good together. Next one, we got Jay Garrick Flash. Not too much to say, but I do like them. And the one I'm actually looking forward to the most is Kid Flash. Boom. Our two young speedsters here, I think they look pretty good together. I'll try and do a whole team shot of all four of them. I don't know if that's going to work. Give me a moment. Actually, we managed to get them all in frame. Awesome. So there's my little Flash family collection. Jay Garrick, Impulse, Flash, and Kid Flash. Now I need like a good Wally West figure. But when I think of Wally West as the Flash, I think of him in that like darker red costume, and the eyes on the mask are whited out. So I would like a Flash of that if we can get that. Hopefully that's in the pipeline. I'm sure we'll get it eventually after they make 100 more Batmans. But I think these look pretty cool together. And I brought in a couple other figures to kind of show off Impulse with. So let me pull them out real quick. So we saw our speedsters that are good guys, and then we have our speedsters who are bad guys. Here we have Godspeed and Reverse Flash. Again, this is the Reverse Flash from Injustice 2, similar to the Flash that we showed off. And I just thought this would be a fun one to show off, him with the evil speedsters. I would try and get all 7 of them? How many are there? In total, I have 6 speedsters. I'm not going to be able to fit them all in frame, but I'm sure they'll look pretty cool together. And yeah, just really happy to get Impulse here. Really cool. But the DC figure I was very excited to get. Not disparaging Impulse, but, you know, I like this other character more. We already saw him, so we're going to bring him out. We've got Beast Boy from Teen Titans. This is just a regular release for Beast Boy, which is pretty cool. There is another Beast Boy figure that is out there, kind of. It's a Build-A-Figure. He's in the Titans wave. You'd have to get Nightwing, Raven, Roy Harper, and Donna Troy, I believe. Each of them comes with a piece of Beast Boy, and if you build the whole thing, it's like this beast. For me, I just wanted like a regular Beast Boy, and I think this figure looks pretty good. Also, he comes with the little bird, which technically he can kind of transform into. It would have been cool if they added maybe like 1 or 2 more other small animals, maybe like rat or a rabbit, a cat, a dog, a pig, just something else. I think they could have kind of filled out this box. It does look a little empty. But as far as Beast Boy looks, I think he looks pretty good. Similar to Impulse, actually, to be honest, they do have the same kind of color scheme where it's just white and red. It makes sense these guys came out at the same time because I'm pretty sure it's the exact same body and everything. So this was an easy figure for them to produce. But yeah, I'm happy to get a Beast Boy in my collection, building at that Teen Titans. We've slowly been getting characters. You know, we got Kid Flash. Last episode, did we get Superboy, or was that the episode before? I don't recall, but, you know, we're slowly kind of picking up a few characters here and there. Hopefully we can get a regular Cyborg release. That's one I'm kind of hoping for. But here we have Beast Boy. We're going to show off the box. Actually, this box was pretty beat up from Amazon. As you can see here, it was pretty crushed, which is unfortunate, and a little bit on the top. So that sucks. But the figure's fine, just the box took a little bit of a beating. You know, they just decided to play a quick game of soccer before they packed this one up. Hopefully it was a good goal. But yeah, so here is Beast Boy. Again, he comes with a bird. I think that's a hawk. Could be wrong on that. Don't really know my birds, but we'll show off the box even though, you know, it's the same stuff every time. Nothing on top. On the side, Beast Boy Teen Titans. On this side, Beast Boy and the advertisement again. On the bottom, some boring stuff. And on the back, we've got Beast Boy here. And a very retro-looking Beast Boy. And as we can see on the back, here's him as like a chimp. Here's him as like a panther or something. A snake and a rat. A rat and a snake, they could have easily kind of propped that in here as well. You know, I kind of digress on the accessories. I'm glad they even gave us a bird because they could have skimped out on that too. Also, one thing I like, usually I'm kind of picky about what the art looks like on the back and what the character looks like, but I do like that they went with a more kind of retro looking hairstyle, where here I just think he looks kind of dorky. This is the type of hair they would kind of give to the young characters, and you know, this is more of a modern look for him, so I'm happy that they did that. I would have liked if maybe they gave him some fangs or something, where maybe he's got his mouth open, you can see some fangs or some pointed ears or something. I don't think he has pointed ears by default, but just to kind of give him some characteristics to not make him look so human. But yeah, other than that, I think the figure looks pretty good. We're going to bring in some comparisons. So like I mentioned, building out that team of Teen Titans. We saw them together earlier, but here we have Impulse. Now, Impulse you can kind of replace with Kid Flash, which we'll show off in a second, but I just thought I'd show these two off together. And like we just saw, here's Kid Flash building out that Teen Titans team, looking pretty snazzy. All these gold label figures. Here's another gold label figure, Robin, Tim Drake Robin, looking pretty good. I know this is kind of a controversial one because some people will be like, why didn't you bring Nightwing instead? Why'd you bring Robin? I'm more of a Robin in Teen Titans kind of guy. When I think Teen Titans, I think more of the cartoon. Even though I didn't really watch it, that's the team I think of. You know, Robin, Beast Boy, Cyborg, Raven, Starfire. I think that's everybody. I feel like I'm missing somebody, but yeah, I'm more of a Robin guy in Teen Titans. So that's why I brought him instead of Nightwing. And last but not least, we've got Superboy. Looking pretty good. And give me a second, I'm going to try and bring out a couple more just to kind of show them all together. So here we got a little mini team of Teen Titans. All of them are Gold Label exclusive, except Superboy here, but I still think he looks the coolest. But yeah, I think these guys look good together. You know, we've got a Justice League team, and these would be our team of young heroes. And I think I'm going to probably try and pick up the Raven that came out, and maybe the Roy Harper from that wave I was talking about earlier with the Beast Boy, the Build-A-Figure. I might try and pick up those figures. I don't know, I'll look into it. I wasn't really crazy about their designs, but maybe if I look at it again, I might change my mind. But for now, this is my team of Teen Titans, and like I mentioned, we can replace Kid Flash if you'd like with Impulse. For that one person that's like, man, I wonder what the team would look like with Impulse instead of Kid Flash. Buddy, I gotcha. For me personally, I prefer Kid Flash instead of Impulse. So these are my two additions for DC Multiverse this month. This was kind of a last minute thing. Like I mentioned, I really didn't have anything I was going to pick up for DC, and I just happened to see these guys on Amazon, snatch them up. They came in like 2 days. So very happy about that. Like I said, they're Target exclusive, so I'm very happy I didn't have to jump through too many hoops to get these figures. So very, very happy with these two. All right, next we're going to be jumping into Beast Wars, and I've got two really cool additions this month. Now, with Beast Wars figures, I'm kind of up to date with everything that's kind of currently releasing, with the exception of Leo Prime. That'd be the only one that I haven't gotten yet that I want to add to my collection. But there was a Transformers fan stream this month, and there was one like last month or month before. But Transformers, they had a fan stream in May, which I think was just kind of a spur of the moment thing. I don't think they had it planned. They had one in May, they just had one in March, and they haven't announced anything in terms of like some retro Beast Wars figures, or just Beast Wars figures in general. It doesn't have to be on the retro Beast Wars card. I would like that, but you know what? I'll take anything at this point. So March there was nothing, May there was nothing, and I think it was in March. Yeah, March going into April, I was like, man, what am I going to do for my Beast Wars collection, you know? I'm kind of up to date on everything. And I don't know what I'm going to kind of like look to collect. And then it came to me. I'm like, why don't I try and hunt down the original Beast Wars figures? I have already one in my collection, and it is the Snarl. This is something that we showed off previously in a previous episode. But this is a retro Beast Wars figure. We'll show the back off where it has the year, which is 1996. This is the only one I had up to this point of an actual retro release. Everything else came in the Kingdom line or was on a retro card re-release. This is a re-release, as we can tell by the year here, 2022. So that's how you can tell if you're really not too sure. But I took some time. I made a list of characters from the original release. So I looked at a bunch of different lists and like websites to kind of help put together a list, and I went through like every single character that they ever produced, and I made a checklist, and the checklist I think is about 12, 13 figures. I'm going to try and slowly pick them up. I'm going to try. Some of them might be just outrageously priced, like these bigger figures, the Bison here and the Polar Claw. They're considered bigger figures. Like this is a mega figure and this is a deluxe figure. So they're kind of going to come at a premium cost, plus trying to find them on the actual carding. Like people are selling them loose, and it's tempting to be honest, but for me, I want it on the card. Even if the card's like beat up, like this isn't the greatest card. You can see there's some wear and tear, and you'll see what I got here. There's some wear and tear. But as long as they're on card, I'm pretty happy with it. But anyways, I made a list of all these Beast Wars figures that I didn't have. Not these in particular, just general. And like I said, it came out to about 12, 13 characters. So I did some research. I looked up some people selling Beast Wars figures in my area. I looked up on Kijiji. There's a site I've mentioned in previous episodes, which is basically kind of like a Facebook marketplace, but just for Canada. And people can sell anything there. You know, you can sell a car there. You can sell dogs. If your dog has a litter of puppies, you can sell them there. You can sell clothing, you can sell whatever. And that's usually my go-to when I kind of look up that kind of stuff. The other place I'll try is probably eBay. But to be honest, I actually lucked out, and I saw a guy who was selling some retro Beast Wars figures. I hit him up. I'm like, hey, do you still have them? And he was like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, oh man, I would like to buy them off you. And we worked out a deal, and I am adding to my collection 2 retro releases from, I think it's 1996, might be 1997. I'm just going to show them off, and then we'll kind of break it down. Predacon, Power Pinch, and we've got Maximal Clawjaw. Sorry, I'm not too familiar with the names. I had to look it up on the boxes. But yeah, 2 really cool figures. And we'll take a look at the back just to show that they are retro releases. So as you can see, this one's 1996. Actually, this one was on the same card as the Snarl. So here's Snarl. And if you look on the back, there's the checklist. And we can see Clawjaw right there. I don't think Power Pinch is here. He is not. He's not on the Predacon list. Oh well. So yeah, we've got Clawjaw and Power Pinch, and I just think these are just super cool. The boxes are a little beat up, which is fine. I don't know if anyone saw when I was looking on the back of Clawjaw for the dates. You can see a piece of the cardboard is missing. Like I said, I'm fine with that, as long as it's like the vintage figure, because, you know, I don't know if Hasbro's going to be doing any more of these. So until they announce some more figures for Beast Wars, I'm going to have to fucking go back in time and try and hunt down these figures. And yeah, I just happened to luck out. To be honest, out of all the listings that I saw, it was mainly people selling like the retro karting figures, like the newer ones, and Kingdom figures. That's one that I saw a lot of postings for. But in terms of people selling the rare stuff, there was only two people. There was this guy here, and there was another guy. I reached out to him, but he was selling Baboom, who I don't think is on the back here. No, he's not, but it's a baboon character, and he comes in a bigger box. Unfortunately, that figure was already open, so I was like, I'm not too interested in that. Thank you, though. But yeah, we're going to break down each figure. We're going to touch on Power Pinch first. Like I mentioned, he is a Predacon, as you can see up here. It does have a sticker here, a little label. I want to rip it off, but I feel like I'm going to damage the whole box. Like I'm going to take the little portrait of him as well. So I don't know, I've left this on for now, but I want to get rid of this. But it might be too late. But anyways, we've got Power Pinch here. He is an earwig, and that is something I had to look up because I'm like, what the fuck bug is this? Like, he definitely is a creepy crawler, but honestly, if I just looked close enough, it says Earwig right here. Earwig becomes infantry robot with Mega Pincher Claw. And I've had some run-ins with Earwigs, and I gotta say, they're pretty terrifying bugs. They are horrifying to look at. If you've never had an encounter with one, consider yourself lucky. But I gotta be honest, I think the figure looks pretty cool. I'm not too crazy about, another bug character, because there's a lot of bugs in the Predacons. They didn't get any cool animals, so they just got a bunch of insects. Which is okay, but, let's broaden our horizons. We got Tarantulas, we got Black Arachnia, we got Inferno. There's 3 bugs right there. I'm going to show off another one here in a second to compare. Then you got, like, Waspinator 2. There's just so many bugs. So this is going to be another addition to my little bug collection that I got going on with the Predacons. But I think this figure looks pretty cool. The packaging has taken a bit of a beating. We'll take a look at it. But as we can see, some weathering here, all along the edges. It's pretty beaten up. But it's actually not bad, to be honest. It's still like in decent condition. Like, it's not in perfect condition, but it's a condition I'm pretty happy with. But we'll show off the box. There's really not much to show. There's just a front and a back. This is the front, and here is the back. So here's a nice shot of him there without the stupid label over him. So a pretty terrifying bug. There's all his different stats if you want to pause and look at it. We saw the checklist already. We'll just do like a wide shot. We got the checklist there, a little portrait of him, and you can actually cut this out and use it as a card if you'd like. That's what all the lines are for. But I wouldn't recommend that. But back in the day, that was a fun thing to do. And if we look on the bottom here, we've got a little description for him. Predacon Power Pinch. Function Infantry. Despite his long body length and the giant pincher claws he drags behind him, Power Pinch is surprisingly fast. 6 speedy legs power him forward over almost any obstacle. His greatest assets are the powerful pincher claws that are strong enough to sever most enemies in half. And as all Maximals know, those pincher claws are as dangerous in insect form as they are when he converts to robot mode, which is why they never underestimate the ferocity of this truly evil insect. I like how they bigged him up there, where I'm like, oh, he's just a stupid insect, and the description's like, he might be a stupid insect, but he's a dangerous stupid insect. We'll just do a quick comparison. So there is Power Pinch, and I brought along another insect to kind of compare him with. This is a re-release of a figure. We showed him off in a previous video. This is Retrax, and if you remember when I did the video, the whole plastic bubbling was coming off, and I pretty much had to tape it on. That's why all the tape is there, in case you didn't watch that episode. But yeah, another bug to add to my collection. I didn't bring out all the other ones because I would have basically just brought them all out, but I thought Retrax would be a fun one to kind of compare him with Power Pinch. So really cool, happy with this one. And then we've got Clawjaw here. I'm actually happy that I got I want to say Decepticon, but a Predacon and a Maximal. I got one for each team. And something I actually really like about this character is it's another sea animal. Where honestly, I was looking at my collection, I'm like, man, I don't really have too many characters that are based in the water. I have one other one, and it's one that we saw earlier with Cyber Shark. So now I've got two characters that are kind of water-based. Got a bunch of flying characters, got a bunch of insect characters, but in terms of characters that are water-based, these would be the only two. And before it was just one, and now we have a second one. So happy to have that. But anyways, let's show off Clawjaw here, and he is a squid, as it says here. Squid becomes attack robot with grabbing pincer claw. And I think the figure looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. It does look like a basic figure where the legs just kind of open up here, just transform here. It looks like a very simple transformation. As I look at the figure, in my head, I'm like, okay, this comes apart. These are the legs, and then this kind of flips over, and these are the arms. And in my head, I'm transforming him. But here's a nice little shot of him. Luckily, this does not have a stupid little label covering him, but this is what he looks like here. And as we saw already, he is a Maximal. So a nice little shot of the front. And here's a nice little shot of the back. Similar layout to Power Punch and Snarl. You got the checklist there and a little description of him here, which we're going to show off in a second. But there are his stats. Now let's read his description. Maximal Clawjaw, function, underwater attack. From the deepest, coldest depths of the sea, Clawjaw emerges to attack Predacon enemies that stray too close to his underwater lair. The four razor-sharp fangs surrounding the cyber squid's mouth make him a potent warrior, as does his robotic metal-mashing claw weapon. Just going to do a comparison with a couple other Maximals. So these two figures are original releases from the 1996 wave, and this is a re-release from 2022. We saw on the back, and here's our team of Maximals. We got a Tasmanian Devil, a Squid, and a Shark. And in case I made it confusing, because I know I showed off a bunch of figures, the only ones that are new to my collection is the Clawjaw and the Power Pinch that we showed earlier. Just those two guys. Actually, speaking of Power Pinch, we'll bring him back. Here we go. And I'm just really happy someone was even selling on-card figures of Beast Wars, because, you know, these figures are 20 plus years old. They're almost 30. They're almost 30-year-old figures, but they're still in plastic, and luckily there was a collector like myself that had these, and, you know, unfortunately he was trying to sell them, and I didn't ask why he was selling them or whatnot, but thankfully they came to a good home. Super happy about them, and hopefully I can pick up a couple more. I'll pick up the rest of my list. I'll show the list on the screen. I made a little checklist on my phone. I actually have a checklist for almost every collection that I have going on. I have one for like DC Multiverse, Marvel Legends, Power Rangers Lightning Collection, wrestling. Because sometimes it's kind of confusing where it's like, man, I don't know what I'm looking for. Do I have this already? Oh, wait, I have it on my phone in my notes app. I can just look it up who I need and who I'm looking for. So I was able to cross these two guys off the list. And I'm looking forward to getting some more Beast Wars figures. Hopefully Hasbro comes out and releases some new ones, maybe like a re-release, kind of like Cyber Shark, which we showed earlier, or retracts. I wouldn't mind that either. Maybe just doing different characters that we've never seen before. You know, my personal hope is they do the Nyx character and Scold from the comics. That would be awesome. Yeah, just, you know, have fun with it. Create original characters. Just give us some Beast Wars figures. Please, just give us some goddamn Beast Wars figures. I'm begging you, please. Yeah, we'll have to wait to see if I get any more Beast Wars figures next month. Trying to hunt these down is going to be quite the challenge, especially trying not to pay too much. Not saying that they're not worth it, but, you know, I'm not trying to spend an arm and a leg to try and get these figures. If they're reasonably priced, I thought these were pretty reasonably priced. I think one was 60 and one was 55 or something like that. I think those are pretty decent prices, because, like, you can't really find these anywhere. You know, you can't go to your local whatever the fuck store. Even if you go to, like, a flea market, trying to find these would be like next to impossible. Even when I go to these toy shows, I've been to like 5 or 6 toy shows now. The only original karting Beast Wars figures I found was Snarl. That was the only one out of all those shows. So trying to find them down is going to be a battle, but I'm really happy I got these two. You know, maybe we'll have one for next month. Maybe not. We'll have to wait to see, but super happy to add these two to my collection. Next, we're going to be jumping to wrestling, and this month is a funny month because this month I didn't get any wrestling figures, but I did get some cool stuff. And I know that sounds kind of weird, like, what the fuck, you didn't get any wrestling figures? What are we doing here then? Move on to the next segment. Hold on, slow your horses. We did still get some cool stuff for wrestling figures. So back in, I believe, my March figure video, I ordered some stuff off a guy called Chaos Wrestling Club. And I ordered a championship title and some figure clothing. If you didn't check that out, go check out that video. But I bought 5 Bullet Club t-shirts from him, and I bought the NWA World Heavyweight title from him. I was pretty happy with both. I thought the shirts turned out pretty well. I did have a little issue with my world title where he didn't include the Velcro strap. I did message him about it, and he did rectify it. He was just going to mail me a Velcro strip like by itself, but I told him, like, hey, you know, I'm probably going to place another order. When I do, just toss it in there and, you know, we'll call it a day. And he's like, all right, I got you. And I placed another order for a couple shirts and another championship title. So for the shirts, we've got another 5 shirts. They're not Bullet Club t-shirts. They're 2 different designs. 3 of them are one design and 2 of them are another design. And the reason I get 5 shirts is because he gives a better deal. So it's just better to buy 5 shirts instead of, like, you know, 3 or 2 or whatever the case may be. And for the championship title, I got one that I don't know if Mattel's ever going to release. We'll talk about it later, but I think this belt turned out pretty cool. But in terms of the clothing, I was going through all my wrestling figures and I was kind of looking at everybody and seeing who could use an accessory, you know, who could use a shirt, who looks kind of plain, who could use like a new, you know, a breath of fresh air with a nice t-shirt. And I found a couple figures, to be honest. And the first one I'm going to show off is from a faction. This was from a time when I was really not into wrestling at all. I think I was barely collecting wrestling figures. Actually, I think I was out completely because around this time they switched over to Mattel before they were with Jakks Pacific. And I was like, you know, I have this whole Jakks Pacific collection. I'm not collecting this new Mattel shit, so I stopped collecting wrestling figures. I stopped watching. I wasn't really interested in the product. And around this time, I was slightly interested, mainly because of one guy. The group that I'm talking about is the Nexus. Yes, here are nice Nexus custom-made shirts. And even though it's a simple design, it's just a gigantic N, with a yellow background, I think the shirts still look pretty good. And like I mentioned, I got, you know, 3 of them in total. I'll show off the other 2 in a second. But here is a Wade Barrett figure. He was the leader of the Nexus. And here is the custom-made shirt. We've got a couple more people wearing Nexus shirts. I'm surprised he actually stood up. We've also got Justin Gabriel looking pretty good in his Nexus shirt. Obviously, this is not what he looked like when he was with the Nexus. He had his little baby face. But this is the only Justin Gabriel Elite figure. Are you going to stand, Justin? There we go. And the other character I got a Nexus shirt for is Heath Slater, baby. To be honest, I should get a shirt for Heath saying I got kids. Maybe in the future, but for now, he's going to be rocking the Nexus shirt. So the figures I already owned. The only thing that's new is the shirts, and I think they look pretty good together. And I got a couple other former Nexus members, but I didn't have enough shirts for everybody. But we've also got Ryback, formerly known as Skip Sheffield, who is in the Nexus. We'll put a shirt on him, and we'll put a shirt on Daniel Bryan. But yeah, Daniel Bryan was one of the reasons I was kind of getting into back into wrestling at that point, because it was announced that he was signed and they were going to launch NXT this I'm going to talk and change the shirt. And at the time they canceled ECW, which I kind of liked, but Just an easy Velcro strap, in case you were wondering. But yeah, they announced that they were going to be doing this NXT show where they were going to have these 8 rookies, and they were going to have veteran members of the roster to kind of mentor them and give them guidance. Here's Daniel Bryan looking pretty good in a Nexus shirt. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see him in a Nexus shirt, which we'll talk about here in a second. But yeah, they did the whole NXT show before NXT is what it was now, where it's pretty much like a developmental brand. We had this kind of game show type brand where I don't remember if it was fan voted or not. I don't believe it was, but I don't remember how they determined who got eliminated or whatever. But I know it was announced that Bryan Danielson was going to be on it, and I was pretty excited. And I still remember episode 1 where he had that match with Chris Jericho, and he did that dive to the outside, and Jericho kind of threw him into the announce table. He looked brutal and absolutely devastating. It looked like it hurt a lot, but I was just watching WWE just to watch Bryan Danielson. I forgot how far he made it into the show, but the winner of season 1 of NXT ended up being Wade Barrett. But what they ended up doing with everyone from the first season was they took them, they threw them in a group called Nexus, and I remember when they, ended the Raw where they made their debut and attacked everyone, the internet was blowing up about it, like, holy shit, did you see Nexus, blah, 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 or did you see all these guys from NXT? They weren't called Nexus at that point. And unfortunately, after their debut, so they have their big debut on Raw, I think it was the next day or the day after, Bryan Danielson ends up getting released. So they go from a team of 8 to a team of 7 in less than a few days of their big debut. They lose a member, and that was due to Bryan Danielson when he attacked Justin Roberts, who was the ring announcer. He choked him out, and WWE did not like that because that's just a few years after the whole Chris Benoit thing. And they said, fuck no, you're gone. They ended up releasing Bryan Danielson, and the Nexus turned into a 7-man team, like I mentioned. So you had these 4 guys, and then you also had Michael Tarver, David Otunga, and Darren Young. Those are the other guys. Unfortunately, those guys don't have elite figures. I thought about getting a David Otunga custom created. We'll wait to see if I get that done. It's kind of on the list to get done, but I'm not in a rush to get it done because there's other figures I rather have customs of. Anyways, Nexus had a run for a little bit. I wasn't really paying attention at the time. Once he got released, I was kind of like, all right, fuck it, I'm really done with this company. I was already barely watching it, and then you fire him over something so fucking stupid. It made me very angry, so not too happy about that. But anyways, back to the whole Nexus shirts. I think they look pretty cool. And, like I said, basic design, but I'm happy to have them. And I'm going to put them on Heath and Justin Gabriel, I don't have a Skip Sheffield figure, so I brought in Ryback. And like I said, Bryan Danielson did not get to wear a Nexus t-shirt because he did not last long enough. But I remember when they brought him back at the SummerSlam, and then they had like a weird team. It was like Jericho, Cena, Edge, Bret Hart, R-Truth, Bryan Danielson, and I want to say John Morrison. I could be wrong on that. They had a big 14-man tag match, and Bryan ended up coming back to WWE, and of course we know how things went from there. He had a pretty nice career and is still continuing on. But yeah, as far as the shirts go, I think they look pretty cool. And then the other t-shirt that I got made from Chaos Wrestling Club as well. These are coming from AEW. This is a tag team, and probably one of my favorite tag teams. Probably not at the moment. I just thought they were an awesome tag team. I remember I watched their stuff in PWG, and when they came to AEW, was super happy to see them. And it is the team of the best friends, Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor, in this really awesome t-shirt. I love this t-shirt design. They actually have a lot of really cool t-shirt designs, but this one in particular is my favorite. This is just when the group was Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Trent Beretta. And I really like how this shirt looks. I like the little designs for their characters. I think they look really adorable. It just looks really fun. I really like this design. I asked, Chaos, I'm like, hey, can you do this t-shirt design? He's like, yeah, no problem. I got you. And I think the shirts look pretty good. They're on white compared compared to, like, you know, what we saw earlier with the black, and same kind of concept with the Velcro. Just attach it there, and you've got a nice shirt. It is a lot tighter around the necks compared to the WWE guys. Like with Bryan Danielson, he doesn't look like he looks comfortable. He's wearing a shirt. And then with Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, Trent doesn't look too bad. Chuck looks like he's being strangled to death. I think that's why he might have that expression on his face. But as far as the design of the shirt, I really, really like these. And I can now complete the team of the best friends. We got Orange Cassidy here, looking pretty awesome. This figure is fucking sweet. This is from AEW Unrivaled Wave 3, and I remember when they announced it, and I was like, dude, I gotta get it. They molded the fucking pockets in. Super cool. This is all one piece where it's Velcro, and it's a shirt that's, you know, in the jean jacket. This is just a really dope figure. One of the best AEW figures out there. And, you know, I'm actually going to take this off, and we'll show them off in the best friends shirt. But yeah, I absolutely love this design for the shirt. And let's put it on Orange Cassidy. So boom, like I said, the shirt is attached to the jean jacket. We're going to take the shirt off Chuck Taylor. My light is about to die, so hopefully I can do this before it dies. I'm kind of on, like, racing the clock at the moment. Put the shirt on, Orange. Come on. So here is Orange Cassidy with the shirt. Even he kind of looks like he's being strangled a bit. It looks a little snug on him. But as you can see here, we'll recreate this little pose. You got to give the people what they want. There's Trent. There's Chuck, and there's Orange. You got to give the people what they want. I will definitely be putting this shirt on Chuck. I just put the shirt on an Orange just to show what it looked like, but I'll be putting this back on him. But yeah, I think this shirt turned out awesome, and I am very, very happy with it. So here's a nice shot of all the figures I've gotten shirts for. Obviously, we just showed off the Best Friends and the Nexus and the Bullet Club one. That was the first one that we got done. And I got to be honest, I'm pretty happy with the shirts. I'll definitely be placing another order. And I just got to look through who I think, you know, could use a shirt with a cool design. I really like how this one turned out. I love everything about it. Something I'm also pretty happy with is the championship belt that I ordered. Now, like I mentioned previously, we ordered the NWA World Heavyweight title from him. And here's the Velcro strap that he gave me. I have applied it on, and it goes on quite nicely, and we can wrap it up. Boom. Looking great. And I was very happy with this. I thought it turned out quite well. I love the design of it. I think the title looks awesome. He painted it quite well. I love this little addition here for the straps to put together the belts. It was quite nice. So I knew I wanted to get another championship belt, but I had to decide which one. So I was looking at the titles that he could make, and I was thinking to myself, you know, what is a title that I would love that I don't know if it'll ever get made? And I saw one, and I ended up ordering it, and it is the WCW Hardcore title. Yes, they had a Hardcore title. It was near the end of their life as a company. I think the title was only in for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And obviously it was to compete with WWE's hardcore division, and obviously ECW as well, who is doing a lot of hardcore stuff. And Mattel has done a lot of WCW titles. You know, they've released the US title, tag titles, world title, TV title, recently did the Cruiserweight title in Elite 100, but they have not done the Hardcore title yet. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know if they ever will. I don't know who they would package it with. I have pitched the idea before where they should release this title with Norman Smiley. I think, you know, make it a ringside exclusive. I think it'd be a really cool piece. But to be honest, I don't know if they're ever going to give that to us. So I was like, you know what? I've got quite a collection of WCW titles. I'll show them off at the end here. And I kind of want to complete that collection. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get the WCW Hardcore title made. And here it is. This is the second design, I believe. I know there was 2 designs for the Hardcore title. And I believe this is the second one, the one that they use the most. And as we can see here, World Hardcore Champion. There is the Nitro logo or Thunder logo. Or maybe it was the WCW logo. I don't remember. One of these was associated with WCW. I think it was one of those shows. On the side here, we got Hardcore, and there's a baseball bat. And on the other side, it says Hardcore as well. And I think there's like barbed wire here. I think that's what that line is supposed to be. I'm not sure what this hole is. I don't know if that was supposed to be painted black. And actually, it might have, because this side it's black and this side it's gold. So maybe just a little mispainting here. But actually, if we look here, there's another like half circle that's not painted. I don't know. I would have to double check the reference photo. But I think it turned out quite well. It's very similar to the NWA World Title, where it's on a leather strap. It's got these little beads here. It came with the Velcro strap already. We'll show off the back. There it is. And in case if you're wondering how he does this, he has a 3D printer, and he puts in the file, and then he prints it and paints it as well. I think the title looks awesome. It's going to make a nice addition to my WCW titles. And I brought a couple people to show this figure off with, and they are all former WCW Hardcore champions. So the first one we got here is Bam Bam Bigelow. He was a WCW Hardcore champion. He only won it once, but here he is posing with the title, looking very menacing. And the title looks great on him. Unfortunately, he is a bigger guy, so we're not able to wrap it around his waist. That's as far as it goes. It's pretty maxed out on him. And I'll try and do a front shot while I'm balancing all this. So that's what it would look like around his waist. And again, if you want to wrap it up, just put on the strap. You can put it around his arm like that. You can have him holding the title, posing with it, maybe just won it or retained it. Next, I've got the Lance Storm. This is a custom figure. We've showed this off in a previous episode, but he is also a former Hardcore champion. And Lance won the title and then immediately gave it away to his Team Canada member. I believe it was PCO. He wasn't PCO at the time, but he was Carl Ouellette, I believe is how you pronounce it. And he renamed it. This was one of the titles that he won and repackaged it. I want to say it was the Saskatchewan Hardcore title, something along those lines. It was just funny. But here we're strapping it up so we can have it around his waist. And there he is with it, looking pretty awesome. And I think Lance looks pretty good with the Hardcore title. And then we've got the man who is tied for the most reigns, Terry Funk. And he won the WCW Hardcore title 3 times. And here he is with it, the Funker. Looking pretty sweet. We'll wrap it around his waist as well. Very happy with how this turned out. And I brought in the WWF Hardcore title just to kind of compare. Not that there's really like a comparison to be made, but just to show off the WWF Hardcore title and the WCW Hardcore title. So there it is. One's being held by duct tape. Well, there was a story behind this where this is the old WWF championship, and then they smashed it, and then they put tape around it, and Mankind did this, and then it just kind of became the Hardcore title, which is pretty cool. And this title here is an official release by Mattel. To be honest, I really prefer the WCW Hardcore title. I mean, this is kind of iconic, but at times it kind of just looked like trash, where even people that won it and held it, they kind of held it like it was just hot garbage. Like, no one really thought of this as like a prestigious title. You can see when they'd have the title, they just throw it down like they didn't give a shit. And I felt it kind of demeaned the title a little bit, but I like this version of the Hardcore title. I think it looks good. It does look kind of dorky with like the brick wall, and it's like missing a few bricks, but that's kind of makes it hardcore. But I like how the championship actually looks much better. It looks like an actual championship compared to something being held with duct tape. And here is my WCW title collection so far. We've got the World title, we've got the Tag titles, the TV Championship, and the US Championship. And now I can add to it the Hardcore title. Now, I know there is the Cruiserweight title. I've yet to get it. I still need to get it from Rey Mysterio from Elite 100. But now, I can kind of add to the collection. Actually, let me move these guys down. Make some room for the Funker. So here is Terry Funk with the Hardcore title posing with the other WCW champions, and I think this looks pretty awesome. Can't wait to get the Cruiserweight title eventually, but I think as of right now, these look absolutely incredible. Hopefully Mattel does an official release for the hardcore title, and I think there's no one better to kind of package it with than Norman Smiley. Even though he won it 1 or 2 times, he's still the person that I kind of associate with the hardcore title. So in my opinion, I think he would be the perfect person to package the title with, but we'll have to wait to see. Hopefully it's in the pipeline. But yeah, I would just like an official release for the hardcore title. But in case they never do it, hey, I got my own WCW hardcore title, and you can get yours too. Again, if you want to reach out to him, it is Chaos Wrestling Club. This is a little card that he provides when you order from him. You pick it, I stick it, belts, shirts, and logos. And here is his information. Again, I'll put his Instagram in the description. You can just click on that. Go check out his page. If you're interested in some stuff, definitely reach out to him. He makes some good work. Between the titles and the clothing, I am pretty happy, and I'll definitely be placing another order in the near future. Next, we're going to be showing off some video game figures, and I got some very, very cool stuff. I was actually going to save this for last because I really like the figures that I found, but we're going to end out on Power Rangers just because we got to open it up and it's more of a production, so we're saving Power Rangers for last. But not to take anything away, these video game character figures I found were just incredible. And all of these are coming from my local comic book shop. I talked about them earlier, how I bought the Android figure from the TMNT collection, the Best Action line. Got that there. Got a couple books. And actually, even before that, I haven't gone to the comic shop since, probably late last year, around October, November. So it's been a while. And to be honest, the funniest thing, I was on Instagram, I was surfing Instagram, and I got an ad from them, from my local comic shop. They were posting on Instagram, and I'm like, holy shit, they have an Instagram page? I was checking out some of their posts, and I'm like, god damn, they got some cool stuff. I haven't been there in a while. And when they were having the free comic book day weekend sale, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go check out the place. I am going to tear it apart, not literally, but I'm going to search every nook and cranny, and I want to find some very cool stuff, because they do have a lot of cool stuff, but I've never really taken my time and looked at all the different things that they have, and I made sure, I'm like, if I'm going to drop some cash here, I am going to make sure I'm walking out of here with some cool, rare stuff. And that's exactly what I did. I've got 3 editions this month, and finding all 3 of them, I found them all at the comic shop, and I was just blown away. I'm like, holy shit, this has just been here the whole time? God damn, this is so cool and rare. So the first one we're going to show off is a game that I actually like quite a bit. I've played both of them. I'm actually just going to introduce the character. It is the main character from the Portal series, Shell. And here she is, looking quite awesome. This is from NECA. Yes, it is. NECA. Similar to the Gears of War figure that we showed off in the last episode. It was just on the floor. It was just on the floor laying down like that. And I was going through all the aisles and stuff. And for some reason, I never really looked down. Because, usually when you find stuff just kind of laying down on the floor, you kind of don't really pay it any mind. But something told me, like, look down, and what do I see just laying on another box? I found this figure, and I was like, holy shit, I've got to pick this up. Actually, what's the year on this? Does it have it? 2018. Now, I don't know if that's when the figure was produced. I assume it would be. So it's been out for quite some time. It was just laying on the floor, and I'm like, dude, no one's gonna buy this? Like, what the fuck? I immediately scooped it up. I'm like, this is coming home with me. Like I was mentioning, I am a big fan of the Portal series. I've played the first game. I've played the second game. I more so have a recollection of the second game because I played the absolute shit out of it. Loved the story mode. Did a bunch of co-op stuff. There was a whole co-op campaign. Me and a buddy of mine did that. Actually, for those of you who are unaware, I used to have a second channel. It was a gaming channel that I did with friends. We'd do like co-op and multiplayer stuff. And we did a bunch of co-op stuff for Portal 2. We did the whole co-op campaign. And we were playing on PC. And there was community creations. And we played a bunch of the community maps. And we just had a blast doing that. Playing all these maps and torture chambers that people would come up with. It was a lot of fun. So that's kind of what I think of when I think think of Portal 2. So when I saw this figure, I was like, dude, I gotta add this to my collection. I really love the Portal series. And here we have Shell. Shell? I'm not sure how you pronounce the name, but here she is. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of her face scan. She just looks so lifeless. Like, that's what she looks like there, and then if you look here, she looks like she's seen a ghost, or like she's just recently passed out. She, there's like no life to her, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I would have just liked some more... I don't know how to fucking describe what I want, but it just looks very lifeless. It looks like she's kind of looking into your soul. Like, get a close-up of that. Look at those pupils. Just extremely creepy looking. It's a very jarring figure to look at, but other than that, I think it looks pretty cool. You've got the Aperture Laboratories shirt. You've got the little jumpsuit wrapped around her. She does come with some articulation on her. As you can see, the elbows bend. I believe there is a shoulder joint. You can't really see, but it can go up. And I think it has a waist swivel. I would assume so. I don't know if you can bend it at the knees. You can't really tell from the box. But speaking of the box, I actually think it's pretty cool. On this side, you got the orange portal. And if we flip it over... we've got the blue portal, and actually this will allow us to see better into the box. She comes with the portal gun there. Now, I think I know why people didn't buy this figure, and it was honestly something I was considering when I was kind of looking at buying it, was this little window here has come unglued. Just the glue kind of gave out and it kind of opened. I was taking a look at it. I was making sure it was never open. The tape looks pretty good. It's coming off here, but that's because of this, and the tape went over that. But I gotta say, it looks like it has never been opened. I'm pretty sure it has not been opened. This tape looks absolutely perfect, and yeah, just the glue coming off. I'm going to put some tape in it, hopefully. I'm going to try and do it in a way where you can't really see it on this side. But yeah, it is something that I want to get taken care of so I don't get like dust and shit in the box. Yeah, anyways, about the box, I love the blue portal and the orange portal. I think that's a nice, cool touch. We'll take a look at the box real quick. So here's a nice shot of the front. Aperture Science handheld portal device with working lights. Yes, so there is something that has lights in it. I'm not sure if it's the gun. There is this platform which batteries go into, and I guess that powers up the figure to light it up. I'm not sure how it works, but something lights up. I would assume it would be the gun, right? Like, I don't know what this is for, though. I think it's just a stand, but I think the batteries go in there. Could be wrong. Anyways, so yeah, there's a nice front shot of the box. On the side, there's the battery instructions. On the back, we saw... Actually, we'll save the back for last, even though we saw it already. I want to read that description. Portal 2 right there. On top, Aperture Laboratories. On the bottom, NECA and Valve. And like I mentioned with the Gears of War figure, here are all the people that had something to do with the figure. So we got the product development, sculpt, fabrication, paint, prototypes, packaging, and photography. Shout out to Chris Longo for the packaging. I think he did a great job with it. Not to downplay anybody else's contributions, but I really, really like the packaging of the box. So special shout out to him. And on the back, we've got the blue portal like we saw before, and I'm going to read this real quick. Quiet and resourceful, Shell remains one of Aperture's most secretive and mysterious test subjects. Luckily, we were able to talk to one of Shell's former co-workers, who assured us that she was Shell's closest, well, why beat around the bush, only friend. When asked for 3 words that best describe Shell, our anonymous source decided on monster, uncaring monster, and generously proportioned monster. Wow, I wonder who they interviewed for that. So this is just an awesome figure. I'm super happy I found this. It was one of those things I was just kind of, like I said, laying on the floor, and just something told me, look down, and I found it, and I'm super happy to add this to my collection. Portal's a series that I like quite a bit, and to finally have some representation for it is really, really awesome. I did bring a figure in just to kind of compare it with, and I brought in the Bobby from We Happy Few. Whoops, it's upside down. But as we can see here, they look pretty good together. And yeah, pretty happy with it. Actually not pretty happy with it, very, very happy with it. Very happy with all of them. And let's show off the next one. So the next figure might be the coolest one out of the three. Not to downplay it, but I was most surprised when I found this figure. So it almost actually didn't happen. So I was done my shopping, and as soon as you come through the store, they have these glass containers, and it mainly consists of statues, but there's a handful of couple figures in there that are like rare figures that are still in the packaging, but they just keep them in there for safety, obviously. And I was waiting to talk to the store owner because I've been thinking about selling my comic collection. So he was in the washroom. I was just kind of walking around looking at all the statues and stuff. And what do I find in one of these goddamn glass cabinets? A figure that almost blew my mind that I saw. I was like, holy shit, that is rare as hell. More rare than the shell figure, the Portal 2 figure. It is a figure of a game that is exclusive to PlayStation. It's not my favorite game, but I did like it quite a bit. We'll talk about that in a second. But it is a Hellghast from Killzone, and this figure is fucking sweet. It was in the bottom of a glass cabinet. I just happened to fucking look down. This is the same thing with the Portal figure. Something just told me, look down. Look down. I look down, and what do I see? I see this figure just sitting there, and I'm like, holy shit. I remember when they released these figures. Actually, if we look at the dates, where is it? It's on the back here. Boom. 2011, and it's made by DC Unlimited. I'm not too familiar with that company, but yeah, I guess they had a toy company at the time. Don't really remember that too much. But yeah, this is from 2011. I remember when they released it, and I was just like, damn, those figures look super cool. I'd like to get one. I actually did some research while I was there, because the guy was, taking his time in the washroom, whatever. I was just waiting around, and I was doing some research while I was looking for this, and apparently there's only 2 Killzone figures that are out. It's this one and the Sniper as well. From the research that I did, I could be wrong, maybe I didn't look close enough, but I believe these are the only Killzone figures that are out. And once I saw that, I was like, damn, this figure is so fucking rare. Killzone's not the biggest PlayStation IP they have, it compared to like Last of Us or Uncharted. Killzone's, in the bottom of that. When the first one came out, I didn't really care for it. I played it a little bit, and I was just like, it's not for me. And then when Killzone 2 came out, a buddy of mine was really into it. I ended up grabbing it. We played some multiplayer, and then a couple other friends in our group ended up getting it as well. And we played the hell out of the multiplayer. We actually had quite a bit of... we played it quite a bit, to be honest. With Killzone 2, I really didn't have the most amount of fun playing the multiplayer, but once Killzone 3 came out, man, I really enjoyed the story. I really enjoyed the multiplayer. I had so much fun with that game. And I know there's a 4th Killzone game that came out as a PS4 launch title. I have not played it yet. I own it. But yeah, I played the hell out of Killzone 3. That's probably my favorite Killzone. I like the story. The multiplayer I had so much fun with. They introduced those melee kills, which was just awesome. And I was really thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? Not only is this a rare piece, but I guess I do have an attachment to the Killzone franchise. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pick this up. And it was going for a pretty good price. Plus, it was on sale with the free comic book weekend sale that they had going on. So it was just kind of a no-brainer. But as we see here, Killzone Hellghast Assault Infantry Series 1. Even though it's Series 1, I believe it's the only series. This is where the sticker was. As you can see, it was probably on there for quite some time. No one ever bought it. I ripped it off because why the fuck would I keep the price on there? Still some glue residue that I'm going to try and wipe off. Actually, as you can see here, look how dusty it is. It was just sitting in that cabinet for God knows how long. And just waiting for the perfect day. And buddy, I saved you. But let's take a look. Actually, let's take a look at the figure. I think the figure looks pretty cool. It's not as articulated as I would like when I buy a figure. I like for it to have articulation, even though I'm not opening it. I always say this, if I ever lose my mind and I open up all my figures and, play with them or whatever the case may be, or maybe I do a big setup, I want to kind of position it however I can. But if you look closely, there's actually no knee joints. This is just how it's positioned. It's stationary like this. You can move the legs, as you can see here, But as far as the lower half of the legs, they have to stay like that, as we can see here. So that's a little unfortunate, but if you look at the top, we've got elbow joints. I'm not sure if there's a shoulder joint. I would assume potentially. And I think there is a waist swivel as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't show like the points of articulation anywhere, which is something I like when figures do, when they're like, oh yeah, this has this many points of articulation. But if we see here, each figure features multiple points of articulation, so that might just be a handful. But if we just take a look at the figure, there's so many cool like details on it. Obviously the gas mask here, looking pretty sweet. We can see wrapped around the leg here. Here's some armor. Actually, a little bit of a paint scuff here. A little red paint on the pouch there. A little unfortunate. And if you look on the back here, he's got like grenades or something. It's kind of hard to tell. Actually, we can't even see from this side. But it looks like he has some grenades of some sort on his back. Maybe they're missiles. Not too sure. And here is his assault rifle. Looking pretty sweet. And that is it when it comes to what's in the box. So let's actually take a look at the box. So there we saw the front. I like the little backing there with the Hellghast eyes, looking very menacing. So here is the top. Not really much to show. Same thing with this side. We get to see a nice side shot of him. On the bottom, some boring information. My box is a little bent, but not too worried about that. On this side, we've got a nice shot of him in game, or just some art of what this Hellghast looks like. Looking pretty sweet. And on the back here, we've got the other figure in the wave, and a nice shot of our buddy here. Looking awesome. The sniper looks pretty sweet as well. You know, I don't know if I'll ever kind of come across it, but if I do, I might pick that up as well. But it does look pretty sweet, and we'll just read the little story here. It is the year 2357, and after years of fighting, the Interplanetary Strategic Alliance sent its fleet to Helghan, the home planet of its bitter enemy, the Hellghast. In a daring bid to defeat them and remove their tyrannical leader, ISA troopers begin their assault on Helghan, a world as brutal and merciless as the Hellghast themselves. So, little synopsis on what the game's about, but it is quite fun. Honestly, I'm surprised they have not done a HD remake of sorts for the Killzone games. Like, you can easily do like a HD remake of the first 3 games, and I think people would buy it. Another one I would like to see, and another one I'd like figures of, I don't know if there's a figure of them, but Infamous. I would love an HD remake of Infamous. You do the 2 games, you do the Vampire DLC game. I think that would be a lot of fun. Actually, that's a series I gotta look into to see if there's any figures of, because I would love an Infamous figure. Actually, something I would just love, I mentioned this back late last year. I did my video of what I would like to see in the year 2023 for figures, and I go through all the different collections that I collect. And one thing I mentioned, and I would still like to see it, is for PlayStation to have their own figure line and release figures for all their cool fucking characters that they have. They're sitting on a gold mine, decades of awesome characters, cool designs, games that people hold near and dear, that are a part of gaming history. And I think it would be cool if they released figures for them, similar to kind of what World of Nintendo does with Jakks Pacific, where, you know, you go to a company, you license out your stuff, and they'll make figures for it. That is something I would love for them to do, but I don't know if that's in the pipeline. I think they're too busy making games and consoles and stuff. You know, they just revealed the stupid handheld PlayStation thing. But I think there's a market there for collectors like myself. If they were to put out toys and figures of, you know, their endless amounts of IPs, I think it would be pretty successful, in my opinion. But I brought someone to compare him with. And I thought the perfect figure to show him off with would be, which we showed off in the last episode, which is the Gears of War character Marcus Phoenix. And if we actually take a look, Marcus Phoenix, you know, towers over this Hellghast quite a bit. I would say here they're probably feet to feet, and Marcus Phoenix looks like he can, you know, take the Hellgas lunch money. Plus, he's better equipped. Like, look at those weapons, and look at that little stupid assault rifle. You know, he's pretty outmatched there. But I thought that was just a cool one to kind of show them with. And you know what? PlayStation, Xbox, fighting against each other. Now, they are different genres. This is a first-person shooter, and this is a third-person shooter. But, you know, I just thought this would be a fun one to share. And last but not least, for my video game figure collection, I've got one more edition, and this was a figure that really spoke to me, because recently, I would say for the past few months, I've been playing a lot of Overwatch 2, and Overwatch 2 has been in the news recently, not for good stuff. They canceled the PvE. We won't get into that because it's a figure video, but anyways, I still kind of play from time to time. I've been playing the shit out of it. I would say about a month ago, I was playing like every night for hours. Even though I wasn't really like enjoying myself, I was just playing the shit out of it. I was like addicted to it. And more recently, I've kind of been in and out of it. I'm at a point right now where I'm kind of burnt out on the game. I've really been into Breath of the Wild. If you missed that episode of Gangster Plays, go check it out. Had a lot of fun with that. Overwatch has had figures before. Hasbro previously has done these Overwatch Ultimate figures that are pretty cool. I've almost collected all the characters that I want. I'm missing Zarya, McCree, and Junkrat. But anyways, I digress. This is not an addition to my collection. I'm just kind of referencing this. But they ended up canceling the line, and there was a lot of characters that never got figures for. And when I was at the comic shop, this is another figure I just kind of stumbled upon. I took my time, I looked in every single cabinet, and I saw this figure. And because I've been playing this character recently, it just really spoke to me. And I really like this character in Overwatch, and it is the character of Zenyatta. And this figure looks fucking awesome. First off, it's from a company I'm not too familiar with. I've seen their name quite a bit, so this is kind of my first foray into what they do, but it's Figma, or Good Smile Company. That is somewhere on here. Good Smile Company. I think that's the name of the company, and then this is the line that they do, Figma. They do a bunch of different stuff. As you can see, this is the 413th figure they released. Not that there's like 412 Overwatch figures. Think of it kind of as like Funko, where Funko, they number all their figures, and that just kind of goes in whatever, based on like TV, movies, and stuff like that. At least that's what I think it does. But yeah, this is their 413th figure. They do a bunch of different stuff. They do video games. I've actually seen a couple of their video game figures. They look pretty good, but they do a lot of anime stuff. I would say mainly anime and video game characters. And I was looking around the shop. I saw this in the cabinet, and I was like, dude, I've been playing a lot of Zenyatta recently. Actually, Zenyatta was one of my early characters back in Overwatch 1. I loved playing as him. I just thought he was so much fun, high dealing DPS. Now he is a healer, and he's got pretty cool abilities. One of his abilities, he throws an orb to heal you. He's got the Discord orb where he throws it on an enemy and they take more damage. And his ultimate is the Transcendence. And yeah, like I mentioned, I've just been playing a lot of Zenyatta recently in my past few games, and I've just been having a lot of fun with him. And when I saw this in the cabinet, I was just like, dude, that's awesome. I think the figure looks great. Unfortunately, this was a figure that Hasbro never got to make with the Overwatch Ultimates. But even if they did, I don't think it would have been anything like this. Like, if we just look at the box, look at all the different things that you get. You get the healing orb. You get his little necklace that kind of goes around his neck, and that's basically his auto attack. All the different arms for you to do Transcendence. Here's the Discord orb. Here's an orb where he shoots his auto attack. Actually, if you look on the back, you can kind of see what you can do with it. So here you see that the necklace kind of sits around his neck, and he kind of fires it off like that, and that's what it looks like. So just a lot of really, really cool details there, and I think the figure looks absolutely incredible. A lot of awesome detail on him. I think they did a fantastic job with this figure, to be honest, but let's take a look. Actually, we'll show off the box real quick. So there's a nice shot of him there. Zenyatta Overwatch sculptor, so similar to what NECA does. They credit their sculptor, so Poly Toys. That's pretty cool. On top, we got a nice shot of Zenyatta there. And again, good smile company. Max Factory, I'm not sure what that is. I'm assuming they help with the production of the figure. On this side, we see Zenyatta. This is how I kind of saw it in the cabinet. They had it like this. And I was like, is that a statue? I'm like, can I take a look at this? They're like, yeah. And I opened it up and took a look. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a fully articulated figure. I need to grab this. So yeah, it was just awesome. On the bottom, another shot of Zenyatta. On this side, it's actually a different shot. For some reason, I thought it was the same as this one. But here we see a kind of a full body shot of him there. And on the back, as we kind of saw previously, there's a bunch of Japanese writing, which I don't know what it means, but I'm assuming it's all really cool stuff. And just some of the things you can do with him. So there's him with his necklace for his auto attack. There's him throwing up peace, because that's really what he wants. He wants peace, and for everyone to kind of zen out, no pun intended. There's him just kind of meditating. There's him doing his ultimate. There's him firing off his auto attack, and there is the orb of healing and the orb of discord, and I believe you can actually attach them. I don't know if you can do it or not, but I did see a guy do a review, and you can kind of take this discord orb and attach it to a figure. I don't know if they provide a little like plastic stand that you can attach it to, but I saw some guy posing this as like a healing orb and using this as a discord orb, which I thought was really, really cool. But I've got to say, as a whole, I think this Zenyatta looks fucking awesome. Like, this just looks sweet. I cannot say enough good things. And I've actually done a little bit of a deep dive into Figma and what they do. And I talked about earlier how they do anime figures and video game figures. And I saw characters such as like Link from Zelda. They've got a bunch of other Overwatch characters. They have a Widowmaker I was kind of interested in. I don't know if I'll be picking that up, but it's definitely something that I have my eye on. There's a Diva. She's not in mech or anything. It's just like her human form. Her out of mech. There's a Reaper in his like actual Reaper costume compared to like what Hasbro put out with the Hasbro Ultimates. They gave us a Reaper, but it's Reaper when he was human before he turned into the Reaper that we know. So I think that's just a cool version of Reaper. And I'm not sure if they've done any other Overwatch characters. I got to take a look, but those are the few that I know they've done for sure. This one just really appealed to me because, you know, we never got a figure of him with the Hasbro Ultimates, Overwatch Ultimates. But honestly, if they were to do a figure of Zenyatta, it would be nothing like this. But not to downplay it, because they have done some really cool Overwatch releases. Here's just a little comparison with them. And I would say that they scale pretty well. Here we have Lucio, as you can see. And here's Zenyatta. And I would say the Zenyatta is probably taller, but honestly, he's always sitting. And I would say him sitting with Lucio standing, that they scale pretty well, to be honest. At least me looking at it from the box. But honestly, these are two of my favorite healers in the game. I wish we got a Brigitte figure. That would be awesome. Hopefully, maybe Figma has that in the pipeline. Or maybe Hasbro plans on bringing back Overwatch Ultimates. We'll have to wait to see. Probably not, though. But yeah, just two of my favorite healers, and I got figures for them. And I thought they were pretty cool, and they scale well together. And I brought in another couple figures to compare him with. And this is someone that he's highly associated with in the lore, which is Genji. Actually, let's bring this over because it's a 2-pack of Hanzo and Genji. I think they look pretty sweet together, so that's pretty cool to have. But yeah, honestly, I'm just very happy to have the Zenyatta figure. We're going to take this out because I want to focus on Zenyatta. Actually, I want to focus on all the video game figures because honestly, I hit a gold mine this month with the figures, the video game figures specifically. 3 pretty hard to find. I'm not sure how hard the Zenyatta is to find, but I would say at least the Portal figure and the Killzone figure, very hard to find stuff, and I managed to just find them. And there was so much other cooler stuff at the comic shop, but I'm like, I had to cut it off somewhere, you know? I walked away with these 3, and I was just super, super happy. And these are great additions to my video game collection, so very happy about that. I would actually implore you guys to go check out your local comic shop. Take a real deep dive. Even if you have like a local toy store, do a deep dive. Always look behind. because you'll never know what you're gonna find. I found these at my local comic shop, like I said. I took my time, I looked, and I walked out here with a gold mine, so very, very happy with these. For the main event of this episode, we are ending out on Power Rangers Lightning Collection. Got a couple cool things here, way more than I expected to, because if you watched the last episode, it was very Power Rangers heavy. We had a huge haul. I had to organize the shit out of my collection, and I mean, I always have fun with that. Whenever I get a new edition, I like to change it up, mix and match. Not mix and match, because I like to keep the teams together. But in terms of their placement on my shelf, I like to move it around. Plus, I like seeing my shelf get more colorful, whether it be like a Red Ranger, Blue Ranger, Pink Ranger, whatever the case may be. I'm always a fan of that. So in case you missed the last episode, go check that out. We had a lot of stuff, and we've got a couple things to show off here. One that just came in at the buzzer beater. I got it today. We'll talk more about that in a second. 2 figures I knew I was going to be getting, and then just a couple items that just kind of happened. So the first one I'm going to show off is not even a figure. It's continuing with all the books that I've gotten. It's one I completely forgot that existed. I remember when it was announced, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, and then I just completely forgot about it. And then when I saw that they were selling the graphic novel, all the issues combined into one, I was like, holy shit, I need to pick that up. And it is the collaboration of Godzilla and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. When I first heard about this, I was like, that's actually pretty cool. It's a thing that really fits together. A bunch of colorful heroes in giant Megazords fighting monsters. And then what if you have the king of all the giant monsters kind of helping out? Now, it always says versus, Batman versus Superman. I think the Power Rangers in TMNT comics is versing each other or whatnot. But usually whenever they say versus, they might fight once, but they always end up teaming up. And I believe that's the case in this here. But I completely forgot about this comic event, and it's a weird one, to be honest. At first it's kind of like, oh, what the fuck, Godzilla and the Power Rangers? And then when you really think about it, the wheels get to turning in your head, the giant monsters, the Megazords and stuff like that. You're like, wow, this is actually a great fit. Now, I don't know what the story is about. I haven't kept up with it too much, but we can read the back here. So the King of Monsters and the Defenders of Earth take on villains from both their worlds in this crossover clash for the ages. When the evil sorceress Rita Repulsa retrieves the multiversal focus, a gemstone through which all realities can be seen, she sets her sights on the alternate Earth where the Power Rangers don't exist to interfere with her nefarious plans. But what she finds instead is a race of alien conquerors known as the Xelians, who are unleashing unpredictable kaiju in the hopes of defeating Godzilla and taking over the planet. As Rita and the Xylians join forces, they find their goals interrupted by the arrival of the Power Rangers. Can they and Godzilla stop the threat before it's too late? And here we have a nice shot of Godzilla fighting the Power Rangers. And I don't know if it's just me, but this kind of reminds me of that famous Dark Knight, I believe it's the Dark Knight Returns, where I believe that's that, where there's like a famous shot of like a Batman jumping out and there's lightning in the background. This shot kind of reminds me about that, but this is a nice shot of Godzilla and the Power Rangers. Godzilla looking very friendly here. Look at his eyes, looking very menacing here, like he's going to destroy everything. And then here he looks like a cute little puppy dog. Quite weird, but I actually love monster movies, so I'm a big fan of Godzilla, and you guys know I'm a big fan of the Power Rangers, so putting them together, it is pretty interesting. I'm going to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the art style. I just think it looks kind of weird. Like if we look at the Rangers here, like Red Ranger, Yellow Ranger, it just looks kind of weird. We'll even delve into the first few images of the comics. It just looks kind of messy. In my opinion, I'm not crazy about it. Compared to like what they actually do in the Power Ranger comics, this is just much more different and not really easy on the eyes, if I were to say. So that would be my one critique so far, but maybe it'll grow on me as I continue the issue. I haven't started this yet. I just finished Flash Rebirth. I'm probably going to jump into DC Heroes in Crisis, and then I'll probably read this next, or maybe I might read this before Heroes in Crisis. But I do really want to read Heroes in Crisis, so I'll probably read that before this. But I am pretty excited to be checking this out, and we'll talk about in the next episode if I liked it or not, and if I could give it a recommendation. But very cool pickup. I look forward to reading this. First figure we're going to be showing off kind of bounces off from the Godzilla thing, where this is another collaboration. This is a figure I did not expect to find. Going back to my comic shop, my local comic shop, like I said, they really came through with this episode, and I was just going through all the shelves and stuff, and I saw this out of the corner of my eye, and I saw the Power Rangers Lightning Collection figure, the Street Fighter collaboration at Cammy. I was very surprised to even see this in store because I thought it was just an online exclusive. I was thinking about not picking it up because I wanted to pick this up with Ken, because, I already have Ryu and Chun-Li, and I wanted to get Cammy and Ken together, but I saw the Cammy there. It was going for a pretty good price, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to pick it up. I'll pick up Ken at another time. Like I mentioned, I already have Ryu and Chun-Li. Now, with Cammy and Ken, I wasn't too excited when they were announced. I was more excited about Cammy than I was Ken, due to it's basically the Mighty Morphin Red Ranger, except, a few different decals and here and there. But for the most part, they pretty much used the whole helmet again and the suit. It's basically just a repaint, and came off as pretty disappointing. This one, to a certain degree, is similar, where her helmet does look like the Pink Rangers, but you also have this sculpted on beret of hers that is a staple of her character. So it kind of changed it up enough to where you kind of forget that, oh yeah, this is pretty much the Pink Ranger. And she also comes with like a dragon shield thing, and you can see her hair in the background. And it looks pretty cool. I look forward to opening this up. We'll take a look at the box real quick. So here it is, morphed Cammy. She is the Stinging Crane Ranger. On top, we've got just some little decals, Street Fighter and Power Rangers, their collaboration. On this side, we see a nice shot of Cammy here. On this side, this is how I'm going to have her displayed in my collection, and we'll show her off with the Ryu and Chun-Li later with all the boxes and how they look. But a nice little shot of her here. On the bottom, boring stuff, and on the back, here is the figure. Nice shots of her and all the accessories that we get. So figure, one set of hands, and a couple blast effects, which look pretty cool. So without further ado, we're going to open it up. Let's do a tape check. So we have a piece of tape right here and right here, but we're going to be opening it up from the bottom, and there is tape here, and it is sealed. And tape here, and it's sealed. So we're going to cut from the bottom. But yeah, when I found this in my comic shop, I was very surprised. Like I mentioned, I thought this was just an online exclusive, so I wasn't expecting it. If any store was gonna have it, I would assume GameStop, just because video game collaboration with a big IP like Power Rangers. GameStop seems like the perfect place to house that kind of product. But, they had this figure, and I'm like, if I'm buying everything else, might as well buy this as well. And that's just kind of how it came together. So here it is. Here's the figure. Take a look in the box. It is empty. We're going to toss the instructions in there. And here is Cammy all packed up. I'm going to be unpacking this, but just showing off what it looks like inside. So give me a minute and let me unpack all this. So first off, we're going to take a look at the hands. And here are her different hands. So for her right hand, she's got a karate chop hand. On her, she has fisted hands, as we can see here. We'll take a look at her closer later. But yeah, a little karate chop hand here. Looking pretty good. She's got like some brass knuckles of some sort. And her right hand, actually, I think I confused them. Left hand, right hand, and this is more of an open hand, I guess, just kind of to pose her doing some sort of karate pose. But yeah, looks cool. And then we've got our little plastic stand here, which we're just going to set up because we're going to be displaying her little accessories, and this is a nice little thing that they give us. We saw with Ryu and Chun-Li, where you can put her accessories and she can kind of be doing the moves. summoning like blasts, and we'll set that up. But here's the little plastic stand, and you can put her feet on here. And in terms of her blast effect pieces, first we've got up a little kind of punching effect. I don't know if this is supposed to be a shield of some sort, but as you can see here, here's her fist and just some nice translucent green, and we can actually fit her fist into here. And we'll try that out right now. How the fuck is this gonna fit? Oh, wrong hand. Duh. I really don't know how you're supposed to put this in here. It doesn't really go in too well. As you can see, it's a little caved in spot to fit her fist, and I'm trying, but it's really not. Oh, hold on. I felt it press in. I think I got it. Boom, I did. I felt it push in, but here it is. A little hiya move. I guess it's just like a punch effect. Maybe you put a putty here and boom, blast them away. But yeah, nice little effect. A little difficult to get on, but I think I could probably replicate that now. Next, we've got another punching of sorts. Maybe this, I think, is a kick. I think that would be her foot that fits in there, but a little spiral kick. And this one actually looks pretty cool. Actually, here's a little peg hole that we can pop into here. So you can rest it on there. I guess this might be a punch one as well. Because if you're going to display her kicking it, how the fuck are you going to hold it up and then have this? Maybe it's not. Hold on. Maybe you put her karate chop hand in here. I was trying the two accessory hands to see what would fit. And it does seem like the karate chop hand does fit in pretty nicely there. And this one, not so much. The fingers are too spread out for it to go in. As you can see there. A little big. And we'll kind of pretend like her karate chop hand is in there. Try and hide it behind the blast effect piece. Hey, yeah, boom, little spiral attack. I'm not too familiar with Cammy's moves in Street Fighter, so I'm not sure if that's something that she does, that little spiral maneuver. But looking pretty cool. I actually do like this one quite a bit. And again, a nice translucent green. Got a little smudge here or something. A nice little translucent green, looking pretty cool. And last but not least, all the other figures have gotten them so far, Ryu and Chun-Li, and it is a bird blast effect piece. And as we saw on the box, this is supposed to be a crane. That's her whole motif for her character. She's the crane Megazord, whatever. And here's a little blast effect piece of her crane. And again, you can just plop it on top of the little stand that it comes with. Whoops. Press a little too hard on it, but you can see the little hole on the bottom and just goes into the ball quite nicely. I think for this blast effect piece, this hand would go good as like she's sending out, or would go well as like she's sending out the crane blast effect piece. So you could pop that hand on her. Actually, you know what? Let's do that. Let's set up that scene. We're going to pop off this hand. Pretty easy to pull off. Put on this one, and give me a second to set up the whole thing. So here she is sending off the blast effect piece. I put her little, the peg into her foot, so it's kind of assisting her in standing, and there she is shooting off the blast effect piece. We'll get a closer look. Hopefully it stays intact. There we go. Sending out the crane energy blast. You can do some cool displays with this one. But enough about the accessories. Let's take a look at the figure, the Cammy Morphin figure. I think she looks pretty good. I'm happy to have another green female ranger. You know, I talked about in the last episode with the Dino Fury Green Ranger that the first, I would say canon. I wouldn't say this is really canon per se. I would say this is fun. This is like on the fun side. But another female Green Ranger, Dino Fury Green, was the first female Green Ranger. Now we have Cammy to add to that. And we'll take a look at her helmet first. And we've got a helmet that's kind of similar to the Pink Ranger, the Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger. We look closely at her helmet. She's got this little black mark on the helmet, which I think is supposed to be a beak of some sort to kind of represent the bird. And this silver thing I thought was also supposed to be part of that. But if we take a look at the box, she's already got like a little medallion piece, a little trinket on her hat, representing her country, I think. I could be wrong on that. But that is what's the gold piece on top here, which is pretty cool. On top, we've got just 2 green slits here. I don't know what they're supposed to be. I guess maybe for extra design. I don't know if her beret actually has those, but I guess it looks cool. Not too big on it. And on the back, we've got her hair, which has articulation, I believe. Oh, it's turning. Okay, we got some rotation. Yeah, okay, I can rotate. So here, we see her little ponytails. Actually, it's longer than a ponytail. I don't know what the proper terminology for this hairstyle is. I think it's just braids, right? But I think it's a different term because she has 2 of them. I don't know. I have nice short hair, and I'm very happy with it. But a cool little detail, similar to Chun-Li's, where she's got the little ribbon. Actually, I'll just bring her out now. We are going to do a little team showing off, but as you can see, Chun-Li's got the little things in her hair, and they incorporated it into her helmet, which is pretty cool. But again, we'll show off Chun-Li later, along with Ryu. And here, she's got a small little dragon shield compared to everybody else. Let me bring them out real quick just to compare. But hers is very, like, compact and tight and small, where everyone else is, like, big and, you know, it really, it's out there. You know, it's a showpiece. But hers is, I guess it's more combat efficient for her. I don't know. But I guess it's pretty cool if everyone just had a ginormous dragon shield. It'd look kind of ridiculous. So, yeah, I guess nice and small and compact fits her. And if we look on the shield, we can see some wings, which look nice. Nice little gold piece. It looks very yellow on the camera as I'm looking at it through my phone. But in person, it does look more gold than yellow. But here is the back. We'll just take her hair out. And as you can see, really no detail on the back. Everything's on the front. On here, we've got arm articulation. Yep, we got shoulders, biceps, elbows. Actually, something I noticed is this arm has this weird thing on the near her elbow where the right arm does not have that. I don't know if that's correct or not. Maybe it's an error. I would assume not. Let's take a look at the box. We can see her left arm with the little pad there. And we can't really tell from this angle. None of the shots on the box really can assist in telling us that, but I'm going to assume it was done on purpose. It might be a Cammy thing. Like I said, she's not really my go-to character when I play Street Fighter. Double jointed elbows and a butterfly joint, as you can see in there, kind of hidden, but her arm can go back and forward. And we'll try the articulation on the other side too. Shoulders are a little bit stiff. Just got to work them in. Elbows are fine. Got a gauntlet swivel, which is nice. And wrist joints. Pretty cool. And here in the torso, we've got an ab crunch. And you can spin her all the way around. This feels kind of loose, like too loose. I had the same thing with Chun-Li. She's kind of like a bobblehead, where this just is pretty loose, and it seems to be the same with this as well, where Ryu's figure it's pretty solid. You know, I really gotta try and move it, but with the girls, a little loose in the abdomen. But continuing on, we have her belt, which looks pretty cool. You can kind of see her power coin there. It's just, you can see wings. You can make out that it's a bird. But I like her little design for it. It's different compared to everyone else's. Although I wish the morpher was a little more prominent. It looks very small, where if we take a look at Ryu, for example, that's a nice looking morpher, good size and stuff, and you can see all the little details. And same thing with Chun-Li. Her morpher is pretty chunky there as well. But compared to Cammy's morpher, looking a little undersized there, so that's a little unfortunate. But let's work our way down to leg articulation. Split tests, pretty good. I think she does them in the game. And we've got drop down hips as well, as you can see here. Push them up, drop them down, spin the thighs. Boom. Let's get her in a sitting position, looking good. Double jointed knees, boot swivel, foot articulation, and we'll just check the other side. Everything is good, which is always good to hear. But yeah, I actually quite like this figure more than I did when it was announced. I think I had more of a problem with Ken's figure, like I mentioned earlier, where it just seemed like everything was reuse from the Red Ranger, where, you know, if you look at these guys, you know, I joked about it when they announced it, where, because these were the first two figures that were announced, and I'm like, man, they really blew the budget on the first two, and then they were kind of left over with whatever else, you know, they had compared for Ken and Cammy. There, I got them set up. Chun-Li was giving me a little bit of trouble. But yeah, with the Ryu and Chun-Li, it seems like they really put like a lot of effort in. And then with Cammy and Ken, it seemed like not so much. It just seemed like a lot of reuse compared to all like the unique pieces that we got with Chun-Li and Ryu. And Cammy does have some unique molding as well. The hair, the beret mixed in with the helmet molded onto the smaller dragon shield, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I actually like this quite a bit. I like the team altogether. I do like this collaboration in general. I wish they did more than 4. I just think 4 is such a weird number of Rangers. Like, why not give us like a full team of like 5, or maybe a 6th person, or maybe like 5 Rangers and then give us like Bison as like an evil Ranger, or even like a, you know, Vega, Sagat, someone else who's like bad. You can do something evil with them. I still need to get Ken, but I really do like this collaboration. I think the Cammy figure does look quite good, and if you want to check out my Ryu and Chun-Li videos, I'm not sure when I even posted them. It was sometime last year, but I go in depth with all of them, and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, here's the Street Fighter collaboration. I'm going to show off their boxes. So we're going to take out the figures for a second, and here are their boxes. This is how I'm going to have it displayed on my shelf. Actually, I'll probably have it displayed like this, or, you know, you have like Ryu set up in the middle. Whoops. Doesn't want to balance. You know, you got Ryu taking center point, you got Chun-Li on the right, you got Cammy on the left, and looks pretty cool. And like I mentioned, I look forward to getting Ken and completing this team. But yeah, big fan of this one, and I think they did a great job. They did a great job with all of them so far, but we're focusing on Cammy this episode, and I think she turned out quite well. Next, as I mentioned at the start of this segment, this literally I just got it today. Now, usually with my figure videos, I film this over, I'd say 3-4 days typically, because usually they're longer, but we don't have as much stuff this month. And I was recording a little bit earlier in May. I don't really expect anything to be delivered in the later parts of May, but boy, was I wrong. GameStop came through. This is a figure I wasn't even expecting because it had a release date of June 20th. It's quite weird, but let me introduce the figure first. Coming in from Wave 14, very newly released, we've got Dino Fury Blue. So as I was just mentioning, it had a release date of June 20th, so I wasn't really expecting it, and then they're just like, your order's ready to be shipped. I'm like, what? This was the only figure that was ready. Everything else still has a release date of June 20th. Now, it's pretty weird. On Amazon, actually, all of Wave 14 has a release date of June 1st. So maybe this is kind of part of that shipment. Amazon received some, and then they sent some to GameStop because, like I mentioned, June 20th was the release date. But yeah, this was the only figure that was ready and came in, which is kind of weird that, you know, wouldn't you get the whole case of the wave? Like, they're just sending single Rangers at a time. I don't know how they do it, but whatever the case may be. If you watched the last episode, we just got in Dino Fury Green, which we're going to show off after, along with Dino Fury Red. Here is the box here for Dino Fury Blue. His name is Ollie Akana. Okay, so we're going to call him Ollie or Dino Fury Blue. I'm not too familiar with this. I have not watched this season. This is the newest season of Power Rangers, or the last season that they've done. They're currently working on their 30th season, I believe it is, Cosmic Fury, which is supposed to be a continuation of this. But this is the last official season that was shown. But here we can see the box looking pretty good. Nice little blue Ranger with the Triceratops motif, similar to Dino Thunder Blue and Mighty Morphin Blue, who are all Blue Rangers that have Triceratops for Zords. So nice little shot of him there and figure there. On this side, we see his helmet in Dino Fury Blue Ranger. On top, we just see a blue box. My tape's a little messed up. That's just the way it came in the box. Nice little shot of him here. This is how I'm going to have him displayed on my shelf. On the bottom, just some boring stuff. And on the back, we see the figure. And we see everything that he's supposed to come with. So similar to Dino Fury Green, where we get the figure, the helmet, the hands, the saber, and the blast effect piece. And we're going to take a look at the tape real quick. So as we can see here, the tape's a little messed up here, but we're not going to be opening it up from the top. This side, oh, I didn't think it had tape, but it blended in quite well. Like, you can't see it here, but once I put it on an angle, you can see the tape. But sealed, and we're going to be opening it up from the bottom. So let's check the tape out. And we got tape on two sides, here, and sealed, and sealed. I'm actually pretty excited for this wave because we get to complete 2 teams. We get to complete Lost Galaxy. We get to complete Dino Thunder. We get a villain in Mesogog. I can't wait to get that figure. And one thing I'm actually pretty excited about this wave is no reported issues. Unlike with Wave 13, where, you know, Dino Fury Green was an absolute nightmare that I thought it was going to be all fucked up, we actually avoided disaster. So box is empty. We're tossing in the instructions. And here is the box with the accessories. So saber, hands, head, and all that stuff. And here is the figure. We're going to unbox this. And let's take a look at them. So like I mentioned, no one has had QC issues with this wave so far, but something to keep into consideration is this wave literally just came out late May. I would say mid-May, I think it started shipping out. But at least in Canada, we started receiving it in late May, early June. So this isn't kind of widely available yet for everybody. So everyone hasn't been able to get their hands on this. So it could be figures that are messed up. I'm not saying this because mine's messed up. I'm taking a little look at it right now. The figure and the accessories, they all look pretty fine from what I can see. The small sample size so far. Maybe once more people start getting their figures, there might be, you know, a plague of issues. Anyways, let's take a look at the accessories. So first we got 2 sets of hands. We got a blue hand and a silver hand, and this looks like a gun gripping hand or sword wielding hand. And the blue fist is just a fisted hand. And in case you're wondering why one's one color and one's the other, if you take a look at the suit, you can see that one half is blue and one half is silver. So that is why he comes with 2 different colored hands. That's not a mistake. And they look fine. They're just, you know, hands. Can't really mess those up. Next, we've got a blast effect piece coming in a nice yellow here. Looking pretty good. Nice and translucent, how it typically is. And it wraps around nicely along the next accessory that we're going to show off, which is the saber, their main weapon. And looks pretty good. Got no complaints here. It is a little warped from the packaging. That's just how it came. Not too bad. I was expecting more of like a curve that way, but it actually is kind of decent. It's not as straight as I'd like, but I can kind of work with it. But we can see the detail on the saber. Looking pretty cool. Looking good. And we're going to wrap the lightning effect piece. I think this is the same one that the Green Ranger came with. Could be wrong. It looks very similar. Maybe there's some small details that are different. But here we have it. And I guess we'll just show it off in his hands. Let's put it in. Here is Ollie, the Blue Ranger, with his saber and its blast effect piece. Looking pretty cool. Let's take that out. We'll take a look at the figure in a second. But before we get into that, as you saw, he comes with his human head on, which means that his helmet comes in separately. And again, like I mentioned, it is the Triceratops helmet. That is his Zord. And I don't... Give me a second. I see a little difference. I have Green Ranger packed up, so I can't really take a look inside. But I thought the helmet looked a little weird, and it just looks very plasticky and gray along the helmet here. And I thought that was kind of weird. And I just took a look at Red Ranger here, and his faceplate is more silver painted. Like, it doesn't look very plasticky compared to this, where it looks very gray and stuff. It's unfortunate. I don't know why they just didn't paint it, you know, silver, like, you know, red. And I think green is silver, similar to this one. I don't think her helmet looks gray and plasticky like this one. Could be wrong. I'll have to go take a look at the video again, but yeah, just I don't know. It looks kind of cheap, in my opinion. But I think the helmet looks good. I do like these helmets. The designs, they look pretty wicked. Inside, we can see the little head going on the ball joints. So looking pretty cool. And let's take a look at the man of the hour, Ollie himself, the Dino Fury Blue Ranger. Actually, we got a little bit of a smudge here on his nose, and it is not coming off. No, that's in there. That's part of the nose. He's got a couple like black marks on his face. Some under the eyes here. What have you been doing, Ollie? Been messing around? But yeah, the one on the nose doesn't want to come off, unfortunately. You can see all the little black marks on his face. Got one on his forehead here, one on the nose, and a couple under the eye there. And a couple here. And they're not rubbing off, so it's a little unfortunate. The one on the nose bothers me the most, just because it's so noticeable. The other ones, they're very small, like black specks, so it doesn't really bug me too much. But let's take a look at his articulation on the arms. We've got the shoulder joints. Boom. Not going in as smooth as I'd like. It's getting stuck on something. The little shoulder piece here is getting stuck on the top. Getting caught there. We got bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. These are pinned, not pinless. Just in case anyone's wondering, me personally, I don't really care about that kind of stuff. But in case you do, pins in the arms, pins in the legs. No swivel on the wrists. I mean, there is one on the wrist, but not over here, which is fine. Let's check the other arm. Shoulders good. Bicep. Double jointed elbows. This one feels a lot smoother than this one. This one is quite hard. This one is very smooth. Here we can see his morpher. I think that's just the generic morpher that everyone has. We've got a hand here. We got a hand here too, but we see his hand swiveling there. Butterfly joints for this as well. Is it just me, or does that seem like it comes out pretty far? Actually, no, the other one's doing the same thing. I don't know. It just seemed a little far. And on the back, butterfly joint as well. Actually, this one is coming out way more than this one. Maybe it's my eyes. I don't know. Maybe I need some sleep. But let's take a look at the rest of the figure. We've got ab crunch. Oh, a little stiff there, but we woke him up. A nice belt, which is separate. You can move it around if you want. You can fit the saber in here and just slides right in. Actually, wasn't greens getting stuck on this one? If I remember correctly, this one went in pretty smooth. Oh, it doesn't want to come out, though. Oh, there we go. Okay. We'll display him with it after. But, no waist swivel. Legs. Boom. Oh, good crunch there. We'll do the split test. Pretty good splits, I'd say so. And let's check the thighs. Boom. This one does not have drop-down hips, unlike the Street Fighter Cammy figure we saw. But let's try the knees. Boom. Easy. Boot swivel. And foot articulation. And let's check this one. Bottom knee didn't want to bend. Boot swivel. And foot. And the thing that freaked me the fuck out with the Blue Ranger, or sorry, with the Green Ranger, putting on the helmets. We're going to try it with Blue Ranger, but actually let's talk about the head sculpt a little bit. I don't know what he looks like, so I don't know if this is pretty accurate, but yeah, it looks fine, I think. Let's try pulling this bad boy off. Okay, not bad, not bad. Just testing out the neck joints, and let's put on the helmets for the Blue Ranger. feels a little weird. That feels very weird. Hold on. Let's do that again. I think it's in. I didn't hear a click, but I believe it's in. And here we see Dino Fury Blue Ranger. And he does look pretty cool. Now that, I can't stop looking at the helmet, the fact that it's like a plasticky gray instead of the silver that the Red Ranger has. And I think the Green Ranger has as well. I don't know, it just kind of annoys me. A little inconsistency there. It'll probably go away, but just that's the one thing I can't stop looking at is the gray plastic on us. Here we'll do a little comparison with the Red Ranger. From the neck down, it's basically the same figure, just in a different color. But the head up, obviously different helmets because they have different Zords. And in terms of their face sculpts, can't comment on that 100%. I feel like I've seen a character like this that looks similar to this, but maybe he reminds me of someone else from a different season. But yeah, here we have him. Actually, I didn't do my favorite pose that I like to do with my Rangers. Let's put on the human head for a second. I love doing the pose of their human head on the suits, and then them holding the helmet on their side. I don't know why. I just really like that pose. I think it looks cool. But here we see Ollie with his helmet. Looking pretty cool. The head doesn't really want to be held there, but he's hanging on for dear life. And here's how it will be displayed on my shelf. We've got Red Ranger, Blue Ranger, and Green Ranger. All of them look quite different. Obviously, this was the old art style with the plastic window, and these are the plastic-free packaging. But even still, I don't know why they went with a more zoomed-out version, and then here they went more zoomed in. I don't know if this is what it's going to be going forward. We'll talk about the boxes with the next two releases as well, because it's more akin to this where it's, more zoomed in. But I don't know if I like this style more, where it's more zoomed out and you can kind of see the color and everything. Because like with this, you see more of the silver. You don't really see too much of blue besides the helmet, the arm and the back, and a little bit of the legs. Where this side, we can see all of her green suit. I'm not sure the next time we'll be getting a Dino Fury Ranger because, like I said, this is Wave 14. Wave 15, there's no Dino Fury Rangers, and we don't know anything about Wave 16 yet, but we've got the team half complete. Now we need a Black Ranger, Pink Ranger, and Gold Ranger to complete out the team. So we'll have to see whenever we get those. But I would say with what we have so far, I think they look pretty cool. And just a fun thing I wanted to do before we wrap up with Dino Fury Blue, all the other Triceratops Rangers, Mighty Morphin Blue, Dino Thunder Blue, Dino Charge Pink, they changed it up there, and then we go back to Dino Fury as a Triceratops again. So just a pretty cool thing I wanted to show off. And the final two figures for my Power Rangers collection and the final two figures I got for this month, I'm going to kind of group together because they were kind of released together. They're not a wave, but they're kind of a package deal in a sense. I'll just reveal them. It was supposed to be a GameStop exclusive, but ended up being just kind of available anywhere. But it is the Lightning Collection figures of Lost Galaxy Yellow and SPD Yellow. So like I was mentioning, these figures are kind of like a package deal. They were revealed together and released together. And we're going to be breaking them down one by one and, opening it up and stuff like that. But I just wanted to show them off together. But yeah, here they are, SPD Yellow and Lost Galaxy Yellow. We're going to save SPD for Yellow because I got more to say about this than I do Lost Galaxy Yellow. But Lost Galaxy Yellow, I'm pretty excited to have. Like I was mentioning earlier, with Wave 14 and Dino Fury Blue. Also in that wave, we're going to be getting Lost Galaxy Pink. So once we get that, we'll be completing another team. But with SPD Yellow, we'll actually be completing the SPD team, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so first we're going to delve into Lost Galaxy Yellow. Her name is Maya. I don't know if she has a last name. She's just, she's got one name like Sting. So here is a nice shot of her figure, part of the Lost Galaxy team, looking pretty cool. I actually really like her helmets. I forgot what her Zord is. I think it's a wolf. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it was a wolf. Anyways, but I think the figure looks pretty cool, as we can see here on the front. There is an issue that something that the figure doesn't come with, which I'm a little upset about, but we'll get to that in a second. We're going to show off the box real quick. So here's a nice shot of the front. On this side, we've got her little helmet here, and Lost Galaxy yellow, Lost Galaxy logo. On top, we've got a nice yellow design. And on this side, this is how I'm going to have her displayed. Now, they did change the box a little bit, and they used to do this. They did it a few times early on, where whenever there's like an exclusive type figure, off the top of my head, Dino Thunder White and Dino Charge Black, whenever they would do an exclusive figure, they would kind of change up the box. And what they would do is, actually, hold on, let me bring out a regular figure. So this is what the regular figure used to be. But, you know, if this was an exclusive, for example, all the white on the background of the box would be red to signify that it was a store exclusive. That's just what they did at the time. And it looks like they're kind of continuing that tradition where, you know, we know what the boxes look like now with this art style. And as you can see, to kind of differentiate between, you know, singular waves and kind of one-off releases, they kind of decked out the whole box. And I guess you can kind of tell by this side as well, where their helmets are tilted, where in a regular wave, all the helmets are facing forward. This I'm not really a fan of. I don't know why they did it like tilted like that. I don't mind this. I think this actually looks pretty cool. It adds to the box quite a bit. I actually wouldn't mind that if they did that with the regular releases. I think it would kind of add to the box. I think these look super cool and pretty stylish. And then, you know, you look at these and they look kind of plain. But just a little thing I wanted to mention. So continuing on with the box, we get the bottom, which has some boring stuff. And on the back, we see her accessories. Human head, a set of hands, helmet, her Quasar Blaster, I believe it's called. Quasar Launcher, that's what it's called. Here is her Quasar Dagger, and that's kind of the thing that I have the issue with. And a cool little blast effect piece. I like that quite a bit. And that goes into her launcher. And a nice shot of her figure there. We'll talk more about the Quasar Dagger when we get in the accessories, but without further ado, we're going to open the figure. On top, we can see the tape, completely sealed. Boom. And again, we're going to be opening from the bottom, and here is one piece of tape on the side here, and the other piece of tape sealed. So inside the box, we've got nothing, and we're going to toss the instructions in here. And here is the packaging. Not the color I was expecting. I was expecting it to be yellow, obviously to match with the character color, but they decided to give us a black box, which actually looks kind of like scary, to be honest. It looks very, looks a little off-putting, to be honest. But let me unpack everything, and we'll take a look at the figure. All right, so first we're going to delve into her accessories. We always start out with the hands. And here are her hands. We've got a gripping hand for the launcher or the sword. And we've got a karate chop hand here. Just plain little white gloves. On the figure, she comes with, I'm not sure why they packaged her with these figures, with these hands on the figure, because these seem like the type of hands that would come in the package, but they decided to pose or put her in the package with these weird little posing hands. Kind of a too sweet. Actually, no, it's kind of more like a Spider-Man thwip kind of hand. And she's got two of those. Thwip, thwip. And yeah, I just thought that was kind of weird that they put those hands on the figure by default. But we'll be changing those out and putting these on. Actually, I'm very surprised that we did not get two of these. You know, we got two of these kind of hands, but I don't know. For me, I'm kind of a boring guy. I like the C gripping hands. That's kind of what I put on all my figures and stuff like that. The karate chop hands and these kind of displaying hands. Not really crazy about them. So it sucks that we only get one of these. Next accessory, we've got her Quasar launcher. Here it is. It's just basically a gigantic rocket launcher. It looks like these can move. Yep, goes forward. Cool. I believe it's just a rocket launcher. I don't remember if it doubles as anything else. And Ooh, I don't know if I like that. This is just a sticker that's been put on, if you see here. This is something I can definitely see peeling over time. Especially if I was like a young kid, I would be playing with this quite a bit. And I could definitely see the sticker just eventually peeling off, so that kind of sucks. But on this side too, actually you can see it's already kind of coming off a bit. But it's still on there. But it's definitely something over time it would definitely fall off. But yeah, I think this looks pretty cool. Just a nice cool rocket launcher. And the blast effect piece looking pretty sweet. It's like a little flame blast. We've got some blue here and some pink here, and it just fits right into the rocket launcher. There's a little peg here. Boom. And here she is firing off a shot at whoever the villain is. I forgot. Is it Trakina? I think Trakina is the one of the main villains of Lost Galaxy. It's been a while since I watched. Like, this is from fucking the late 90s, so it's been quite a bit. I actually like this blast effect piece quite a bit. It's unique. You know, we don't get this too often. We usually get like the lightning style effect piece. We don't get too many gun effect pieces, so I like this quite a bit. Next, we got the accessory that I have the most issue with, which is her little dagger piece, as we can see here. I do like that they have the little symbol on there for her Zord, which, like I mentioned, I believe is a wolf. On the other side is not painted and doesn't have any detail whatsoever. It's just black. But I'm not sure if that's correct, if that's supposed to be on both sides. But at least we got it on one side, I guess. But yeah, my biggest issue with this figure is this accessory in particular, because they only gave us the dagger version where, you know, it's nice and it's going to fit nicely in her little holster. But where is her Quasar saber? You know, the fully extended version. Let me get one. So here is Lost Galaxy Blue, and as you can see, he comes with the little dagger version, but he also comes with the saber fully extended, and I would say this is like a pretty big accessory to not include because it's so prevalent to their powers and stuff. Like, they took the swords out of the rocks, and that's how they got their powers. So to just give us the dagger version, again, we'll talk about that accessory in a second. It's just it's pretty disappointing in my opinion. So that is a little unfortunate. I would have loved the extended version. Oh, this does not want to come out. There we go. But yeah, pretty disappointed on that one, but I guess it's cool we get this. And last but not least, in terms of her accessories, we cannot have a Ranger complete without her helmet. And here it is, looking pretty cool. Nice triangular shape. We see the little animal there. Nice yellow to it inside. And I'm going to get this pose out of the way now, where I'm going to pose her with the helmets under her shoulder, or under her arm. Damn it. And here we've got a nice shot of her with her helmet under her arm, looking pretty cool. Very happy with this, how this turned out. But enough about the accessories, let's talk about the figure herself. And here is Maya, and I've got to say, one thing that I was kind of worried about when this figure was announced and they were showing off pictures and stuff was the head sculpt. I think it's okay. Like, it's not the greatest. To be honest, when it's head on, I don't think it's the greatest, but when I put it at an angle right here, I can see her likeness completely here. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the chick that plays Maya from Lost Galaxy. But head on, I don't really see it too much, to be honest. But on the sides, I can see it. On a side profile shot, I can be like, oh shit, yeah, that does look like Maya. But head on, it's just the weirdest thing. I don't think it bears too much resemblance to her, in my opinion. You know, other people could think otherwise. But yeah, here we see her hair, very curly. I remember in the show she was kind of like a cave person of sorts, or she was a slave, something along those lines. I remember I had a little crush on her. I thought she was pretty cute. She was very attractive, I'll say. Trying to get the butterfly joint to move, but it does not seem to want to. How about on this side? Nope, butterfly does not want to move. Shoulder. Shoulder's a little tough on this one. Shoulder's not bad on this. We got bicep swivel. Still a little hard. Bicep swivel, good. We've got pinless on the arms, but not on the legs. Interesting choice. But we've got double jointed elbows. Again, double jointed elbows on this side. And the wrists here. Ab crunch. Not too much of a crunch. It goes back a good bit, but forward, not so much. Maybe I just got to break it in, but, you know, back is fine. Forward, that's about as far as she wants to go down, which is okay. We've got the belt, which is not molded on. You can kind of move it how you'd like. I mean, you don't have many options. Just, you know, moving it, you know, slightly up, slightly down, whatever the case may be. Splits, not bad. I thought this was kind of going to get in the way. But this is a pretty soft plastic, so it's not going to really affect you too much. Here she is in a sitting pose. And let's try out the leg joints. Boom, we got thigh swivel, double jointed knees, boot cut, and foot articulation. A little hard, but we got it. Articulation seems good. Now let's take off the head. I haven't seen people complain about these figures, which is pretty good. Wow, that actually came off quite easily. That was very, very smooth. Let's see how easy this wants to go on. But I was saying I haven't seen too many very squeaky, geez. So that's about as far down as the helmet wants to go. I think it can go down more, but it's giving me a lot of issues. You could hear from the squeaking when I was putting it on. And it's still squeaking quite a bit. This could definitely use some hot water, leaving it in a cup of hot water for about 30 seconds. And I think that would fix it. But we're not going to do that at the moment. So we're just going to kind of leave it the way it is. It doesn't look too bad, but I believe it can go down a little bit more. So that is unfortunate. Let's try out her hands. Boom. I kind of want to pose her with all her weapons. So first we're going to start the dagger. Slips in quite nice. And as you can see, it just looks kind of dorky. It could be a full-on sword, but stay back. I've got a very sharp knife. Ah, you know, it looks super dorky. We're going to holster this weapon here. And let's bring in the rocket launcher. Let's see how easy this is to put in her hand. Not easy at all. Okay, dumb me. I was putting it on the wrong way, where I was having her hold it here, but it had to be holding it this way, so God damn it just came out of her hand. So the rocket launcher could be resting on her shoulder. But yeah, this is not the most fun, easy thing to do. I might just say fuck it and just kind of hold it in place, but this is how it looks with her shooting the rocket launcher. Pretty nice accessory. And here is the team so far. This is what it's going to look like on my shelf. So we've got red, blue, green, and the Magnet Defender. Now we got yellow, and like I mentioned, pink is coming soon. But something I was talking about earlier in terms of accessories, we're just going to put Magnet Defender here because he doesn't really fall into place with these accessories I'm going to talk about. So in terms of accessories, as we can see with green and blue, they both come with the dagger version and they come with the fully extended sword. But something that they don't come with is the Quasar launcher. Instead of the Quasar launcher, they come with the Quasar daggers. I believe it's, or trans daggers. That's what they're called. They come with a different weapon that was featured in the show. Here's the Green Rangers, and here's the Blue Rangers. So they come with that weapon and the swords, but they don't come with the launcher. But if we take a look at the Red Ranger, he actually comes with the same accessories as the Yellow Ranger. He comes with just the dagger. He comes with the rocket launcher and same blast effect piece too. So, very weird choice, but to be honest, there's another Lost Galaxy Red Ranger. He was previously released as a 2-pack with Psycho Red, and in that version, he does come with the fully extended sword, and I actually have that 2-pack. I didn't pull it out for whatever reason. I just forgot. There's so many other boxes that I brought in. So if you do have that 2-pack, you technically do have that accessory, the fully extended sword, but then he doesn't have the stupid trans dagger that blue and green have. So very, very inconsistent with the accessories. It's pretty frustrating, and I think pink is going to come with, I think, the same accessories as blue and green. I believe she comes with the sword in dagger form and sword, and I think she comes with the trans dagger as well. A little frustrating with the accessories for this team. A lot of inconsistencies, but in terms of figure quality, I think it looks pretty good, and definitely happy to have her in my collection. And then last but not least, we saw her already. We're just going to bring her in. It is the SPD Yellow Ranger, and I'm pretty excited about this for a couple reasons. One, it completes a team of ours, being the SPD team. This is the final piece of the puzzle. And there's actually a little story that comes around with this, at least for me personally, in regards to this figure, before we open it up. Way back in the day when SPD was still going on, that was the last season of Power Rangers that I watched. I was at a point in my life where I felt like I was too old to be watching it. I remember it would show at Saturday mornings, like super early in the morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning. And at that time, I'm early in my teens, and I'm like, man, I'm not going to wake up to watch Power Rangers. Fuck this. I'm too old for this shit. So I stopped watching the show. But I still collected the figures. And I had the whole team. I had the whole core team, the red, blue, green, yellow, pink. And I had the Shadow Ranger as well. So I had those 6. And one day, I was going to play with them or something like that. Or put them away. I don't remember, whatever the case may be. But I was looking for all my Rangers. I found all of them, except for my Yellow Ranger. She disappeared. And I was like, man, that's kind of weird. I put them all together. I don't know where she could be. Why wouldn't she be with the others? I ended up tearing my whole house apart looking for this goddamn Yellow Ranger figure. And to this very day, I have never found her again. She just vanished into thin air, just disappeared. It's been a mystery of mine. Like in my childhood, where I'm just like, where the fuck did this goddamn figure go? I even had my mom help me with it. I'm like, hey, I'm missing this figure. Can you help me look for it? She looked everywhere, couldn't find it. It was just the biggest nuisance ever. And like I said, to this day, I still have not found it. So when they announced that they were releasing this figure, and me even having this figure now, and this being the final piece to the SPD team, it's just a very fitting piece for me, and I'm very happy to have this in my collection. And I can't wait to open it up and see the figure and stuff. Before we do that, let's show off the box. So as we can see here, SPD Yellow. Nice shot of the figure, nice little shot of her there. On the side, we see her little tilted helmet and the SPD logo. On top, just a little bit of yellow. On the side, we saw this shot already, but just showing it again. On the bottom, we got boring stuff, and on the back, we see all her accessories. Her name is Elizabeth, but she goes by Z. And as we can see what we get in the box, we get the figure, we get a set of hands, the helmet, her morpher, which also acts as like a device to capture bad guys. These little baton-like items, I'm not sure what they are. Some lightning effect and a little gun holder piece. I believe you put this on there and then it turns into... Actually, no, as we can see here, you do put that on there and then it turns into a gun. So let's crack her open. Let's do a tape check. Boom, sealed here. Sealed here. On the bottom, we are sealed here. And sealed here. So here we have the box empty. We've taken out the figure, tossed the instructions in there. And here we have our tray. I don't know why this is not tucked away in there, but this just came loose. So we're just going to toss that to the side. And here's the figure. Let's take her out. All right, let's take a look at the accessories. We are going to start out with the hands. And here we have just 2 kind of pointing hands, kind of gun finger hands, pew pew. I think this is just like a posing hand, and we'll take a look at what hand she comes with. So she's got a C gripping hand, and I believe this is the hand to kind of hold the morpher in, which is probably the next accessory that we'll take a look at. So that's what that hand is for. But here we just see two plain white glove hands doing the same effect. And we just talked about it, but here is the morpher. SPD morpher, very tiny, very cool. I know there's been a lot of inconsistencies with this in terms of like every figure seems to get like a different morpher. That attention to detail I'm not too familiar with because like I said, I didn't really watch this season too much, so it doesn't really affect me. But yeah, this is just what her morpher, whoops. So this isn't really a detail that I'm too crazy about, like it doesn't annoy me, but here it is. Nice little small piece, very cute. Now we've got a lightning effect piece. This comes in kind of a grayish bluish type lightning effect. And this would wrap around her baton weapon. Seems a bit overkill. The lightning effect is way bigger than the baton. But, you know, whatever the case may be. Looks a little awkward, but whatever. And here we see, so we have two versions of this. We have a small version and a larger version. So this, like I said, looks like a baton, and this is the version that I believe goes on this little handle here. Actually, as we saw earlier with the, how the fuck does this go? Okay, I just took a quick look at the back of the box, and this is how it's supposed to look. So we can pull the baton off. And this little knob here is supposed to go upwards, and the little back half that's yellow sits in the gripping piece. So that's how the gun is supposed to be, but it is two separate pieces like we saw. Actually, there's a little knob here, does it? No, I thought it might attach into another accessory. I'm not sure if they connect into something else. If they do, let me know in the comment section, but yeah, we take the little batons. Actually, no, I was going to show off the little handle piece. So here it is. It says SPD right there. Very small, but they did include a lot of details, which is pretty nice. So here we see her with the gun. Looking pretty cool. Freeze criminal. Because she is a cop. And if we wanted to, we can put the small baton in her hand before she deals out the big justice. The big baton. This one's a little bent, just how it came in the packaging. And last but not least, in terms of accessories, we've got the most important one, the helmet. The nice yellow helmet. I think it looks pretty solid. Don't really have too many complaints. I think the paint looks fine. Sculpting looks fine. Not bad. And let's do our signature pose. Holy shit, her arm does not want to move. I don't want to break this thing after the goddamn corny story I told. The last thing I'd want to do is break this figure. Actually, I think she only has single jointed elbows. Hold on a second before we get into the helmet pose. God, the shoulders are such a pain in the ass. Yeah, single jointed elbows. Wow. Very weird choice. I think this is just basically the Pink Ranger body then, and at the time I don't think they were doing double jointed elbows, so just reuse there. I guess that's fine. This shoulders does not want to bend up. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Oh man, it's giving me a little anxiety there. I couldn't fucking fold it up. Let's pose her with the helmet. God damn it always slips. Alright, here we have her with her helmet. Doesn't really want to stay under. Her elbow doesn't bend in enough to kind of grip it. And this helmet is goddamn covered in baby oil or something. It's just slipping and sliding all over the place. But enough about that. We'll talk about the helmet in a second. Actually, we already talked about it, but, you know, once we put it on. But I gotta say, I think the figure itself looks pretty solid. In terms of head sculpt, I think this looks absolutely killer. This looks exactly like the actress. And we can see a little hair parted from this side. And here it's kind of in her face. But a nice little sculpt. One of the better heads. I actually would say that this is pretty solid. Like, a very good job with this head. Let's try out the articulation. We already saw the shoulders are giving me a bit of a pain in the ass. Butterfly joints are working on her, which is pretty cool. There we go. Shoulder. The shoulder. Okay, hold on. What the fuck is this piece of plastic? Okay, here's some black plastic that I just ripped off from under her arm. I think it's just like paint that didn't set properly. But yeah, I just ripped it off from under the arm. Not really noticeable. You can't really tell that I took it off. It came from here. But that was just something that was just kind of hanging on. Shoulder's pretty good now. Single jointed elbow, you know, it's fine. Like I said, they probably got reuse out of using the pink mold, which is pretty fine. Because if you really think about it, you can get a couple figures out of one mold. Because you're basically just doing a different color on each one. So I don't mind that too much. Get the most out of your molds. At the end of the day, it's a business. And it's more cost effective to them. But on her, we see SPD on her shoulder here. Police, SPD here. The number 4, she's the 4th Ranger. And here we see her ab crunch. Pretty good back ab crunch. Forward, not too bad. She's got 2 holders. I'm not sure what you would put where. I know that's where the morpher goes. This piece goes on the back there. But they already have it molded on. But in terms of the gun handle and stuff, I'm not sure. Actually, the big baton probably goes in here, like that, which looks a little awkward. But yeah, I'm not sure how this piece goes. If it like hooks onto the top here, if this like this, I'm really not sure. That seems awkward, but we're going to take out her accessories and we're going to continue looking at her her articulation. There's the splits test, not too bad. And her sit test, pretty good, pretty solid. Let's check out leg articulation. Good. Thighs, knees. So for the elbows we have pinless, and for the legs we have pinned. Just making mention of that. Like I said before, though, it doesn't really bug me too much. But for the people out there, I like to be thorough in my reviews. Boot cuts and foot articulation. And here, thigh swivel, double... Oh, man, a little difficult there. Double jointed knees, boot cut, and foot articulation. Not bad looking figure. Let's take off the head and put on the helmet. Head came off pretty smooth. That was nice, just like butter. Hopefully the helmet doesn't give me issues like Lost Galaxy did. But I think it's going to. It doesn't even like want to go down. All right, I managed to bring it down, but it's got the squeaky syndrome, similar to Lost Galaxy Yellow. But yeah, here is the figure complete. So here we have the SPD team complete. This is how it's going to look on my shelf. Red, blue, green, yellow, pink, Shadow Ranger, which is technically a Black Ranger, and the Omega Ranger, which is a White Ranger. And like I mentioned earlier, I had these 6. I never got a chance to get the Omega Ranger, the original figure, but I'm happy to get it in the Lightning Collection form. Super happy to have this team complete. It's going to look very pretty on my shelf with the... I was going to bring the SPD A Squad, but then it would just be too many boxes. So I refrained from that, but I guess we do have SPD A Squad Blue right here, and I do have the complete team for that. But we're focusing on the B team, and that's what they were, and here we have yellow to complete it out. I'm super happy to get this, and it's just kind of a full circle moment, and I'm very happy with the figure. I think it turned out well, the figure itself, the head scan, and very, very happy with it. And here's just a group shot of all the Ranger figures that I got this month. Very happy with them. It's unfortunate with the Blue Ranger and the silver on the mask. Other than that, I think this would be like a solid 4 figures to my collection. Other than that, I think they are all pretty solid, and now I gotta go rearrange my shelf and add to all these different teams. So I'm gonna go do that, but we're gonna be jumping into the news and pre-order section. So let's cue that up real quick and see what I pre-ordered. All right, now we're going to be moving on to the pre-order section, and for this, I only pre-ordered 2 items this month. The first one was the Street Fighter 2 Chun-Li figure from Jada Toys. This was originally supposed to go up the month before, or whenever the Ryu and the Fei Long went up, but they delayed this figure because I believe there were some issues with the production, and they decided to delay it. So it seems like it's back on track, and they put up the pre-order, and I made sure to pre-order it. I'm actually surprised that Fei Long and Ryu have not come out yet. I thought they were supposed to come out like in May, but I think it's been bumped to June now, which, you know, is unfortunate. The Chun-Li does have a release date of August, is what I believe I saw. So they're not going to be releasing together, but it's cool that it's coming eventually, and, you know, it's still part of that wave. Actually, speaking of Jada Toys, just a little off subject, but something they announced in May, which I thought was pretty cool, and it was cool almost to the point where I'm like, do I need this in my collection? So on top of, you know, the Street Fighter figure, they also announced that they're releasing a figure for Chester Cheetah, who is the mascot for Cheetos, and Cheetos is just a brand of chips. It's those orange sticks. If you've ever eaten them, you know, your fingers are all dusty and, you know, greasy and gross. And they're producing a figure based on him. And to be honest, the figure actually looks pretty good. I like the way it looks. I think it looks pretty good and articulated. It's the accessories, though, that are really cool. Not only does he come with an extra set of hands, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but he comes with a bag of chips, which is really cool. And one of his hands, for his extra set of hands, actually has the finger Cheeto dust on one of his hands. And I just think that's a really, really cool touch. So I just thought that was a really cool figure. If I had a miscellaneous shelf, this would go right on it. And I still might even pick it up, to be honest. It's just so stupid that I think I might need it in my collection. I don't know what I would add it to, but, you know, I'll find room for it. But the one thing I want to see is just the box. I want to see what it comes in. Because, you know, if they're going to have fun with it, it would come in like a bag of Cheetos. And the figure would just be in it. But I'm interested to see how they box it. I really like how the Street Fighter 2 figures, I like their box. They look pretty awesome. So hopefully they do something fun for the Cheetos figure. But yeah, that is something I'm actually going to be keeping my eye on. I didn't pre-order it yet. I might. I just thought it was a cool figure that I had to give a shout out to. So definitely check that out if you're interested. I'll actually add it to the description, even though I didn't pre-order it. But if you are interested in any of the stuff I pre-order, in any video that I talk about, I always put links to them in the description, so you can go order it if you'd like. Even though I did not order the Chester Cheeto, I'll throw that in the description if you guys just want to click on it and check it. And the other figure that I pre-ordered was something that was kind of announced near the end of the month, which was an AEW figure, which is weird because I don't usually pre-order wrestling figures. I just kind of pick them up as they come out. But this was one where I'm like, I gotta secure mine. And it was the AEW Unrivaled 2-pack of Danhausen and Hook. This was revealed during the Double or Nothing Fan Fest, and we'll talk more about that, you know, when we get to the wrestling section. But the reason I did pre-order it was for a couple of reasons. One, it's got Danhausen, and he's a very popular guy, so it's going to sell well. Hook as well, he's a very popular character. Also, the fact that it's an Amazon exclusive makes it a little more harder to get, so I think it's going to kind of sell out. I'm not sure if it's still available, but I will put the Amazon link in the description, and you can go check it out, but I think the figures look pretty cool. I like the Danhausen figure. I think it looks really cool. The Hook, I like how it looks, but I wish he came with the green trunks, similar to the figure that he's coming out in Unmatched Wave 7, where he's got the green trunks. That's kind of like his, that's kind of the look I see for Hook. When I think of Hook, I see him in the green trunks, but he comes in the black trunks. It doesn't look too bad, but I would have liked the green trunks, and maybe I'll still buy the single release of the Hook figure so I can get the green trunks. But I'm probably just gonna stick with the 2-pack for now. So just a really fun 2-pack, Danhausen and Hookhausen, really cool figures. So that is what I pre-ordered for the month. Now we're going to move on to some news, some figure news, some stuff that I thought was interesting. And, if you kind of collect or follow what I collect, you might find interesting as well. We're going to start off with Beast Wars. There is a little bit of Beast Wars news, kind of. So in the month of May, they had another Transformers fan stream. Hasbro hosted another one, which is pretty shocking because we just had one in March, and now, I think about a month and a half, 2 months later, we're getting another one, which is just crazy. Not even Marvel gets that many fan streams, but Marvel does announce figures every week. There's a pre-order going up. So, they might be not having as many fan streams, but they're still releasing tons of product. Power Rangers, can we get a little something? Can we get some more fan streams? Can we get some more random drops G.I. Joe and Marvel Legends? They get drops every week. Where, Power Rangers is just, it's kind of sitting there. Anyways, enough about that. We're talking about Beast Wars. So they had the stream May 16th. They didn't reveal any Beast Wars figures that I'd be interested in. The only thing they revealed was a Rhinox figure from the movie, Rise of the Beasts. It looked cool, but, I'm staying away from the movie figures. I was kind of hoping that they would announce, another retro carded release or maybe something in the Legacy line, Beast Wars related, but that did not happen. So there was nothing new announced there, but there was still some Beast Wars announcements where Super 7, who make very cool figures, they're known for their Ultimate figures, but another line of figures that they produce, which are actually pretty cool. I've seen them, but I don't collect them, which is their Reaction line, which is small little figures. I think they're in the 3.75 inch scale. They don't have a lot of articulation, but they have really cool detail, and it's a very retro packaging. And they announced that they're going to be doing some Beast Wars figures in the Reaction style, so I thought that was really cool. They announced Wave 1, and Wave 1 is going to consist of Optimus Primal, Dinobot, Cheetor, Megatron, and Black Arachnia. I'll have photos for that up on screen. They look really cool, but the only downside of them, well, it might be a downside, depends, what kind of figures you like, is they don't transform, they're just the robot form, which is either a downside or an upside, depends what you're looking for, but the package looks awesome, the figure themselves look great as well. Part of me was kind of considering it, I'm like, man, should I get these Beast Wars figures? And I'm like, no. Do not order that because that's not what I'm going for in my Beast Wars collection. But I thought they were really cool and I wanted to give a little shout out to them. So definitely check them out, the Reaction figures. They have Reaction figures for tons of lines. G.I. Joe, Godzilla, Transformers, Disney, Simpsons, Power Rangers. I've seen the Power Rangers Reaction ones and they're really cool. I've seen them in person too and they look really, really cool. So I definitely implore you to check out these Beast Wars figures if you're interested. And definitely check out the other Reaction figures because they are very cool. Next, we're going to be jumping into some Marvel Legends news. They announced a couple cool things in the month of May. The first one was a 2-pack of Guardians of the Galaxy characters, Drax the Destroyer and Moondragon. And these are pretty cool. I'm going to probably skip on them because they're the retro versions of these characters. Honestly, when I saw this green guy, I was like, who is that? Are we getting another Hulk figure or something like that? And then when I read the name, I'm like, oh my god, that's Drax the Destroyer? What the fuck? He used to look like that? I'm so used to what I've seen in the movies and, modern day versions of Guardians of the Galaxy where their looks have changed tremendously. So I'll be skipping out on this one, but I thought it was a really cool figure announcement. And another figure announcement that I thought was really, really cool was the West Coast Avengers 5-pack that was announced. And in this pack, you get Iron Man, who is in a silver armor. You get Tigra. You get Spider-Woman, you get Hank Pym, and you get Mockingbird. And this box set will be an exclusive to Amazon. And the box looks really cool. I really like the art style for it. But for me personally, this is going to be a skip for me. I'm not a big Avengers guy. And to be honest, I have most of the people in this box set. I have Tigra. I have Iron Man. I want the Spider-Woman, but not that version of her. I want her in her more classic attire, the red and yellow. Hank Pym, he's just kind of in his civilian gear, so I'm not too interested in him. And Mockingbird is a character I'm not too familiar with. I've heard her name a bunch of times, but I'm not too familiar with her as a character. So as far as this pack goes, very cool looking. I like the presentation, but it's going to be another skip for me. Next, we're going to be moving on to McFarlane's DC Multiverse. There was a couple big things that came out for them. The first one being that McFarlane and Warner Brothers announced that they'll be extending their partnership to 2025, which is really cool. So we know that there's some security in the DC Multiverse line. I guess the figures are selling well enough to continue the partnership, which is really cool. And some of the cool figures that they announced that we can expect, some figures that they announced in May, the first one being Dread Knight, which was a really cool looking figure. It's basically an Alan Scott Green Lantern, but I think he's evil or something like that. I'm not too familiar with this version, Dread Knight, but just the fact that we might even get like an Alan Scott Green Lantern is super cool, and I'm very excited for that. But this Dread Knight version of him, it's kind of cool. I might pick it up. We'll have to wait to see, but I have my eyes on it. And kind of speaking of lanterns, they announced a new lantern figure, which was a really cool one. I was very excited for it until I realized what it was. And they teased that they're going to be releasing a Sinestro figure, right? Sinestro Corpse. And you know, we're all thinking it's got to be Sinestro, right? We've been wanting Sinestro for a very long time. Let's finally get those yellow lanterns out. But you know, McFarlane, they love their Batmans. And this was just a fun little twist where it's like, all right, you want your Sinestro Corpse? Fine, we're going to give it to you. Stop bitching. But do you remember that Batman was in the Sinestro Corpse? Oh, you remember? All right, we're going to give you Batman as in the Sinestro Corpse with the yellow lantern. It's cool, but it's not what we want. You know, I'm going to speak for the community on this part, where we want more lantern figures. Now, lantern characters specifically, not just people wielding a lantern ring. This is cool, Batman with the Sinestro Corpse ring. But, you know, give us Sinestro, give us Arquillo, give us some cool characters that we're clamoring for. Another character that people were clamoring for, and they did the same move, where it's like, oh, you guys want a Two-Face figure? We're going to announce a new Two-Face figure, and it's like, oh man, we can't wait for a Two-Face, this is going to be so cool. And it's like, you know, what if we release Two-Face, but he's dressed as Batman, you know? Well, he's dressed as Batman, but it's Two-Face, but it's Batman. And it's like, God damn it, McFarlane, for the love of God, just release these standalone characters. Stop releasing every fucking variation of Batman. Now, to a lesser extent, this is mainly a Two-Face figure, but you can kind of consider it a Batman figure because he's dressed as Batman, but it's Two-Face in a Batman costume. It's fucking annoying. It's like, just give us Two-Face, you know? He's a really cool character. He's only got one figure that's come out, you know, and it's the Dark Knight release from the movie. So it's like, just give us a nice comic version, or maybe like an Arkham version. But goddamn, chill on the fucking Batman, for the love of God, please. Hopefully that was in the contract with Warner Brothers. They're like, you know, sales are great, but, you know, if we look at the top 10 figures that you've sold, it's 10 versions of Batman. It's like, you know, what about Superman? What about Wonder Woman? You guys plan on releasing them? And, you know, Todd McFarlane's like, yeah, we're going to do a Superman in a Batman costume, and we're going to do Wonder Woman too. We can't wait to do a Wonder Woman. We got a really cool one planned. We're going to take a Wonder Woman, and we're going to throw her in a Batman costume. I would not even be surprised if those were announced. They don't exist. I don't think there's like versions in a comic or anything, but anything to get another Batman figure out. Next, we got some Dragon Ball SH Figuarts news. And in the month of May, Tamashii Nations, the company that runs SH Figuarts, they had an event and they revealed a new Dragon Ball figure, and it was a battle-damaged Super Saiyan Goku, which I believe is from his fight with Frieza, where he turned into a Super Saiyan. I think, I could be wrong on that, but I think that's where it's from. The figure looks really cool, but for me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of like battle-damaged figures, so it's going to be a skip for me. But actually, another thing that Tamashii Nations announced, I believe it was at the same event, and this is going to kind of transition into some Power Rangers news. Now, with Power Rangers news, it usually pertains to the Lightning Collection, but not this time. This time we're going to be talking about something that doesn't pertain to the Lightning Collection, but is kind of Power Ranger figure news, where at the same event that they revealed the Goku, they revealed a new figure, and it was a figure of the current Sentai that's going on. Sentai is the Japanese Power Rangers. In North America, we call Power Rangers, but in Japan, it is known as Sentai. And right now, they have a really cool season going on. It's called King Oger, and it's an insect-themed season. And everything I've seen about it looks really cool. I like the suit designs. I like the color scheme for the characters. If you look at the main team, the team of 5, the team consists of a red, blue, yellow ranger, a black ranger, and a purple ranger, which looks really cool. And the 6th ranger is a white ranger, and it's got a spider theme, and he looks really badass as well. But yeah, at this event, they revealed that they're going to be making a SH Figuarts figure of this red ranger, which I'm very excited about. Now, unfortunately, there's no pre-orders for it, where usually I get my pre-orders from like Big Bad Toy Store in terms of SH Figuarts, but I believe they locked this behind a different website. I believe it's the Premium Bandai website, which is unfortunate because it doesn't ship to Canada, but I want to get my hands on this. I think this figure looks really cool. I kind of hope that they make the whole team. It's cool to see that SH Figuarts is getting back into making Power Rangers figures or Sentai figures. I'm just going to say Power Rangers because it's easier. But for the longest time, they were making Power Rangers figures, and it's, you know, of seasons that, you know, we've gotten in America: Mighty Morphin, Ninja Storm, SPD, Dino Charge. And then for a while, they just kind of stopped making figures for them. It seems like they're kind of booting that back up, so hopefully they make the whole team. The last few releases, they've only been making the Red Ranger and the 6th Ranger, so obviously they just announced the Red Ranger. A 6th Ranger would be cool. The White Ranger looks awesome. There's also an Evil Silver Ranger, which is basically like a repaint of the Red Ranger. I can see them releasing that as well. If it's just a repaint of the Red Ranger, just throw some silver on it and you got the Silver Ranger. But I kind of hope that they make the whole team. Like I said, I really like the suits. I haven't seen any of the show. I've watched a few clips here and there, but I like everything about it. I think it looks really cool. And honestly, the insect theme I thought was going to be stupid, but it kind of fits because there's just so many type of insects. And I'm just having my fingers crossed that they make the whole team. And I just kind of hope that they put a pre-order up for people that don't live in America or Japan. That, you know, I live in Canada and, you know, it's not easy to get this figure. So, yeah, hopefully they put a way for me to get it somehow, maybe through Big Bad Toy Store or Amazon or something like that. Otherwise, if I wanted to get this figure, I'm going to have to pay an arm and a leg to some guy. So hopefully they come through and put up a pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store. Fingers crossed, as I'm recording this, they have not, but I'm still holding out hope. Next, we got some video game figure news, and this was actually pretty cool. I kind of stumbled upon this. I was looking at Big Bad Toy Store and just kind of saw a listing for this, but it was announced that they're going to be making some Tekken figures. It's from a company called the Game Dimensions. I've never heard of them, so I'm interested in them, but I'm also like kind of I got 1 foot in, kind of 1 foot out situation where like I'm excited for them, but I don't know too much about this company, so I'm kind of going into this with a lot of hesitation. But I'll say that the figures look really cool. They announced 2 figures. They announced that they're doing a Hayachi figure and they're doing a Kazuya Mishima figure. And the figures look really good. They look like they have some good articulation. They have some really fun accessories. They're coming at a pretty good price as well. They're coming in at $30. They're set to be coming out in August. Another reason I'm actually concerned about them is the size. Right now, if you look on Big Bad Toy Store, they're listed at 8 inches, which is very big, where almost every figure line, it's kind of universal, where most figures come in at 6-inch point. And these figures are supposed to be 8 inches, so they're pretty massive compared to like what other figures are coming in at. And, you know, if someone wants to do an open display, they're not going to scale well with like most stuff because they're so big. So I'm kind of weary about that as well. Maybe they just, you know, promoted it wrong and they're not 8 inches. For me personally, I'm just going to keep my eye on this, and I'll wait for some reviews to kind of see how it scales with other stuff. Even though I'm going to keep it in box, I still want it to scale with other stuff. But yeah, I think the figures look really cool, and hopefully they do well enough to get a second wave. Fingers crossed for a Paul Phoenix and Eddie Gordo figure, and King. And then last but not least, we got some wrestling figure news, and there's a couple cool things that were announced this month. The first one, which I think was probably the most exciting news, at least for me personally, out of everything that was announced, was that the Headbangers, a former tag team that used to wrestle in the WWF, announced that they signed a Legends deal with WWE. Now, typically, when wrestlers sign a Legends deal with WWE, there's a lot of things that come in those contract where, they can be included in games and release merchandise and maybe, put into the Hall of Fame. Another thing that's usually included in that list is figures. So could we be seeing Mosh and Thrasher, the Headbangers, getting some WWE figures sooner than later? Fingers crossed. I think that would be really cool. I would actually really love some Headbanger figures. I never really watched them during that time just because I was kind of too young. I wasn't really into wrestling at that point, but I've gone back and seen some of their stuff, and they're pretty entertaining, fun characters. They wear the kilts and the fun t-shirts. So I'm definitely interested to see how they would come if they were to do figures for them. But the fact that they're even possibly getting some figures, I think that's really cool, and I'm definitely really looking forward to them. And last but not least, as we mentioned earlier, AEW Double or Nothing Fan Fest, they revealed a ton of figures. They started out by revealing the Amazon exclusives that we talked about earlier, the Hook and Danhausen 2-pack, and they announced another 2-pack, which is also going to be an Amazon exclusive. The 2-pack consists of the Blackpool Combat Club members Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson. Cool looking figures, but for me, pretty much a skip. As far as some other things that they announced during the Fan Fest, they talked about some upcoming waves. I'm going to be honest, I'm not really paying attention to them because this is like the third time they revealed these waves, and they've changed the lineups like 3 times now. So it's pretty infuriating to kind of get invested in like, oh man, I can't wait for this guy to come out. Oh wait, they bumped him up by like 2 waves. So they did show some renders and they look cool for some of these figures, but I'm not too, until like pre-orders start coming out, I'm not really getting excited for any of these upcoming waves. But some pre-orders that they did announce and some figures that we're going to be seeing sooner than later are some ringside exclusives. They announced 4 of them. The first one being a Sammy Guevara figure, and he's going to be coming with 2 TNT titles and in special packaging. This is to commemorate his match against Miro, I believe, where he won the TNT title. He comes with, like I mentioned, 2 TNT titles. One's the regular color, and the other one is the white strap with the green accents, which actually looks pretty cool. Another ringside exclusive is going to be another Hook figure. They announced 3 Hook figures announced in total. There's one coming out for Unmatched Wave 8, I believe it is, or maybe it's Wave 7. We have the 2-pack with him and Danhausen as an Amazon exclusive, and now we have the ringside exclusive figure. And this is actually a really, really cool one. He comes with a lot of really cool accessories. He comes with the FTW title, which I'm honestly surprised they have not released already, but you know what? That's nor here nor there. He also comes with accessories such as chips, because he's kind of known for eating chips, especially when he was doing his stuff with Danhausen. He would just eat his chips backstage and stuff. He comes with a backpack, and he will also be coming in special packaging. And I like the attire that they picked for him, where he kind of has like a skull design on his trunks. Looks pretty cool. And all the accessories, it's honestly a really cool package. The next ringside exclusive they announced was another Danhausen figure. Danhausen was another character that they announced a bunch of figures for. They announced the 2-pack, like I mentioned earlier, with Hook. They showed off the figure that he's going to be coming in Wave 13, I believe it is. They showed off his regular figure, and then they also showed off that he's also going to get a chase. His regular release is going to be him with a shirt on, kind of like how he first debuted. And then the chase version of him, he's going to be in like wrestling attire, and he's going to come with a cape. It looks really cool. But if you don't want to hunt around for chase figures, you can get the 2-pack of Hook and Danhausen, or you can get this special figure that's going to be a ringside exclusive. And in this special packaging, he is going to come with 3 different heads, 3 different expressions, a soft goods cape, a special attire. He's got like camo pants, and he too will have a special packaging. He actually probably has the coolest packaging out of all the figures they announced. His figure is going to come with like a flap where it will open up and it'll show off his figure, and you know, he's very good, very evil. It's a really nice package. I was honestly debating if I wanted to get this version of Danhausen, because I really like the soft goods cape. I think that's a really cool thing that they're adding to it, but I think I'm going to stick with the Hook Danhausen 2-pack for now. But I might be tempted to get this special ringside exclusive. We'll have to wait to see. Maybe the closer it gets, I might change my mind, but I'm going to stick with the 2-pack for now. And then the last figure that they announced, and probably one of my favorites that they announced, was a Wheeler Yuta figure, and it's going to be a Blood and Guts figure, and they've released a couple of these already, where they release a figure. One that comes to mind is the Britt Baker figure, where she's covered in blood, and this is kind of a similar one, where it's Wheeler Yuta, where he had that match with Jon Moxley, and he just bled buckets. You know, it was like a scary amount of blood that he lost during the match. To commemorate it, they're releasing a figure for it, and I think it looks good. I think the head sculpt looks good. It looks like him. I think it's kind of weird that he comes with a plain-looking head, because it's like, what the fuck? Why would you put a plain-looking head on a body that's covered in blood? Weird choice of an accessory, but, you know, whatever. He comes with a soft goods jacket. It's always cool to get soft goods stuff. I like his attire. His attire looks good, but the one that was really exciting for me is he is going to be coming with the ROH Pure title. That is a really cool accessory. Now, there was another Wheeler Yuta figure that was announced for one of the other waves that, you know, might get switched around, and it's also going to be coming with the Pure title, so you'll have 2 opportunities to get that if you are interested. But me personally, I'm going to stick to the regular version. The Blood and Guts figure looks awesome, but for me, I'd rather just get like a regular version of Wheeler Yuta. The ROH Pure title, super, super cool accessory. I'm very happy that they're putting it out. And I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but this will also be coming with special packaging. All the ringside exclusives are going to have special packaging. That's kind of what they do for ringside exclusives. So a bunch of cool figures that we can expect probably later on in the year. I believe most of these things have a release date of August, if not later. So we're still a little bit away. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff was revealed this month. Very excited. This is actually a pretty exciting month for me. I'm very happy with all the figures that I picked up. And yeah, that is going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did enjoy the video, if you could be so kindly to drop a like on the video, just kind of shows me that you guys care about these videos. I like making them and sharing them with you guys, and you know, I hope it's being reciprocated that you guys enjoy watching them as well. So if you do, just make sure to drop a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, other than that, that's going to be it for me this month. I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will catch you guys in June. Look forward to the next episode. Keep up with everything that's going on the channel. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you guys next time. And until then, guys, peace out.